In a bustling village, crowded streets pulse with constant commerce. A glass slams onto the table as the boy announces he's passed Epley Academy, urging everyone to celebrate with him tonight. Full of cheer, he accidentally elbows the person beside him, then snaps irritably, boasting about his status and demanding they move away. Noticing the chaos, another boy steps in. Attempting to diffuse the tension, someone urges him to back off. The boy, mellowed by the party, decides to let it go, saying he's in too good a mood to cause trouble. As the celebration continues inside the bar, talk of a hero festival sparks the interest of the masked onlooker. The drunken storyteller eagerly describes the chosen hero Kyle, joined by the divine archer, Lamaya, the Saint Sarah, and led by the formidable warrior Kyle, though the boy questions if someone else was part of their group. Someone reveals the other member is Rananiel von Trias, the Ash Mage known for handling only minor issues while the leader takes on all the real work. The day before the party, the heroes battle relentlessly against demons and monsters. The frontline soldiers clash with the beast, spotting the heroes and feeling relief as reinforcements arrive. The leader commands a retreat, then strides alone onto the battlefield. Leather boots echo across the ground. The leader, Kyle Thorben, radiates a fierce, unstoppable aura. Lamia, the divine archer, grows uneasy. The enemy numbers have tripled, and the battle could end at any moment. Sarah turns to the Saint, asking why the leader can't just wipe them out in a single strike. Kyle explains that if he goes all out, the entire royal army will be pulled into the fight. Kyle barely finishes speaking before a hand grips his shoulder and someone calls his name. The Ash Mage surges ahead, outpacing his team as he launches skyward toward the distant demon army, unleashing a barrage of spells and weaving a network of magic. The girls question whether Rananiel has already beaten the demons, but Sarah insists he's running late. The commander watches in silence, irritation flickering across his stern face. Soaring through the air, the white-haired boy unleashes a blue electric aura and hurtles toward his enemy. Runes ignite in the air and on the ground beneath the demon army as Rananiel readies his capture skill. Spell activated, he charges forward, runes trailing behind, surging his power for the final attack. After a few minutes of running, he thrusts out his hands crackling with blue lightning and unleashes his full magical power. A massive explosion erupts in the arena, and the soldiers, unfazed by their army's defeat, remark that Kyle never disappoints. The powerful man in the skull mask still stands, but the fearless hero strides forward, hand outstretched. As the enemy closes in, he seizes the skull's neck, unleashing his crushing grip with unwavering resolve, determined to end the fight. Despite the chaos, the archer calls the man useful, but the blonde snaps back. It doesn't matter if he keeps interfering. She admits she's never seen magic used on the front lines like that, and wonders if this is what being a mage truly means. Turning to the leader, the blonde sneers, "You find him disgusting too, don't you?" In response, the boy clasps his hands, unleashing chain magic with every ounce of his mana and aura to finish them off. He presses his hands to the ground, unleashing magic as a blue, electric rune ignites beneath him. Witnessing the chaos, the warrior unsheathes his sword and storms into battle, frustration mounting at his friend's antics. Lightning relentlessly strikes the enemy skeleton, leaving it paralyzed and defenseless. Spotting his ally ahead, the terrified protagonist shouts, breaking the rules and disrupting everything. Hungry for glory, the commander leaps forward, shouting as he readies a powerful sword strike at the boss. A day later, the city erupts in celebration, chanting Kyle's name, while the MC is forgotten. The MC seethes as his leader basks in glory he didn't earn, while all his hard work goes unnoticed. Embarrassed as the cheers go to Kyle, the boy pulls up his hood, hiding from the crowd. The crowd erupts, chanting the leader's name in pure joy over the team's victory. The team heads to a bar-like house to celebrate their victory and unwind. As the others file in, the protagonist lingers, asking when the next fight is, eager to stand out. The team leader shuts him down, just as the hero pulls back his hood. Annoyed, he declares the boy doesn't belong, leaving him stunned. For the team, defeating the demon meant peace and justice, but for the boy, it was only a personal victory. The leader declares that seeing someone crave undeserved honor fills him with disgust. The three face the mage, certain his expulsion is final. Speechless, the boy stares at his former teammates, lost for words. The leader repeats his demand for the boy to leave the team, words that echo in the boy's mind. Time skips ahead to the drunkard's party, where the protagonist crashes into a pile of boxes. Two boys pummel the protagonist, sneering, "Did you really want to be friends with that Aplia honor student?" The masked boy, voice barely above a whisper, murmurs that they always blame him. He says everyone blames him for messing up and forcing the team to clean up after him, accusing him of caring only about his own goals and the mission's success, never the others. The drunkard casts a spell, promising it will wake him. His friend questions if using magic on a civilian is even allowed. Overcome with despair, the protagonist kneels, insisting that no matter his past mistakes, he doesn't deserve this treatment. He strides toward the drunkards, memories of saving his team and city only to be overlooked, burning in his mind. Summoning blue fire, the boy challenges. Is defeating the Black Dragon, one of the 4 sacred kings, really a small feat? He remembers battling enemies as his leader fled in fear while he pressed forward. He says they were the ones who fled in fear when they faced the Demon King. Abandoned, he stood alone against the Demon King's army, forced to muster all his strength alone. Haunted by memories, he rages at the blue magic, blaming it for forcing him to sacrifice half his life so his team could escape. He says his team only wanted easy battles, but truthfully, they were just exhausted from watching him struggle against the Demon Lord. Memories of the mage flood the black-haired boy, filling him with terror and rage. Consumed by anger over his suffering, he readies a merciless attack against the two civilians. Hand poised to snap, he snarls, "I'm the one who refuses to join that pack of fools." With a snap of his fingers, a white-haired boy clutching a head wound appears, recalling how he came to possess his current body. An old man marvels as his disciple arrives, looking entirely unrecognizable. He pauses, searching the boy's face for the right word. At last, he says his name, Rani. Revealing her true identity, the mage now inhabits an innocent girl's body. Assisting his disciple, the old man declares she can no longer be called Rananiel. Her new name is Rania van Traz, and from this moment, she will serve as an assistant teacher at Aplia Academy. He meets her gaze and asks, "Are you ready for your second chance?" For 5 years, she battled demon lords with a ragtag team. Now, surrounded by peace at the academy, everything still feels unfamiliar. Haunted by her past, she only recalls being utterly ignored by the team. She remembers battling the demon lord alone, yet receiving no praise or recognition. Determined to move on, Rania urges everyone to forget the past and asks what she should prepare for next. After all, she's left the team behind and started fresh as a teacher's assistant at the academy. Late afternoon in the forest, birds scatter as a desperate scream pierces the air. Animals close in on a man shouting at them to leave, standing before a broken cart. A demonic wolf unleashes a powerful roar, ready to strike its foe. Desperate, the man shields his face, bracing for the blow. But before the attack lands, someone swiftly takes down the beasts, spraying liquid everywhere. Amazed, the man realizes he's been saved and gets to live another day. As the masked figure unleashes magic to drive away the animals, the curious merchant asks, "Who saved me?" The animals close in as the girl shields the merchant, declaring, "I'm Rananiel, Mage of Ashes." Channeling her speed, she summons blue runes and unleashes a powerful spell, blasting the beasts away. Rananiel reveals she escaped the demon long ago by forging a pact with the stars. Demon wolves are hurled skyward, helpless and unable to strike the merchant. But one beast digs in, claws gripping the earth with raw power too, cling to the earth and refuse to be cast aside. Blue magic pulses from the protagonist as beasts close in, yet she stands fearless. Confident in her strength, she faces the charging wolf head-on. She warns that the pact demands a price. Bracing herself, she plants her foot and channels her magic, ready to take them all down. With a single burst of her magic, wolves are hurled skyward, some defeated, others gravely wounded, while a brilliant blue explosion lights up the forest. She then reveals that the pack's attack changed everything, leaving her unable to escape the demon lord. A massive wolf lurks, ready to strike. Suddenly, it lunges, jaws snapping at the mage's back in a fierce attempt to take her down. Moving with lightning speed, the girl narrowly dodges. The enemy's jaw snaps shut on empty air as he barrels past her, yet the demon's curse still grips her heart. The beast crashes headlong into the ground. Enraged by its fall, the creature plots revenge, but the powerful girl counters, raising a finger glowing with blue runes, ready to strike. Cursed and unable to adventure, she strikes the creature's head with lightning, defeating it. The magic obliterates the enemy's body, hurl the other corpses even farther. After the battle, she turns to the man she saved and asks if he's all right. Grasping his savior's hand as he rises, the man gratefully asks for her name. Still uncertain, the girl nearly slips but manages to say, "My name is Rami." She warns him that this stretch is dangerous and to stay alert. He thanks her again, admitting he nearly forgot. Mask on, she turns away, declaring she's leaving the battlefield. Soon, the story takes a new turn, to a remote house deep in the forest, encircled by vibrant blooms. As she nears the house, staff in hand, the girl remarks it's been ages since her last visit. Today, the legendary Ash Mage of the hero team steps into retirement. Inside, an elderly man sits serenely, clearly the protagonist's mentor. The boy, back in his own body with short hair, opens the door and gazes at the sunset on the horizon. He steps inside as his mentor scolds him, warning he could have lost. The old man grumbles that the boy rejects all his magical teachings, but the boy simply smiles in silence. The old man asks if he still wants to leave. Kneeling before his mentor, the boy announces his retirement, taking the man by surprise. Furious, the old man calls him a worthless disciple and declares he'll only accept him as an apprentice if he returns with the demon lord's head. 5 years after receiving his mission, the protagonist returns to his mentor's home, eager to apprentice once more. As she approaches the door, the girl declares her intent to deliver the demon lord's head to the old man, then knocks to summon the trainer. The man answers, eyes wide with curiosity, and asks who she is. He's never seen her before. She pulls off her mask, blushing with shame. She's not the girl her master remembers. With a smile, she announces her return, now with a strikingly feminine look. The old man is left speechless, visibly unsettled. He quickly deduces that the girl is the Mage of Ashes, Rananiel, and reveals he knows what happened. Disheartened, he admits he would have stopped if he knew his discipline would only scare her. The old man, confused and tearful, asks if the girl brings his disciple's final words. He says pride swelled within him as he watched his disciple claim victories alone, but nothing compared to the joy he felt hearing he'd defeated the Black Dragon. Uneasy, the girl finally speaks up, eager to explain what happened. With a nervous smile, she reveals, "My name is still Rananiel, but I'm not the boy I once was." She charges her staff with magic to prove she's telling the truth. The Jesus-like old man is utterly stunned. Stunned, he gapes and asks, "Is that Ronald's magic? Magic of ashes?" as he realizes the apprentice stands before him. He studies her for a moment, then finally asks, "Are you really the boy from before?" She beams with joy, proud to have finally convinced her master she's back to finish her mission. Before she can finish, the mentor unleashes a powerful energy blast at her. The blast shatters the staff to rubble, leaving the girl speechless. Suddenly, the old man turns and calls the girl to follow him back inside. Joy floods the girl as she finally proves to her mentor she is the true Mage of Ashes. Seated, the old man pens a letter to Rosal, the former Tower of Ashes master and his beloved professor from Aplia Academy. Countless letters flood in, some asking if he's heard of the professor's retirement and knows his whereabouts, others seeking a recommendation from the Mage of Ashes for the Tower of Magic. Fuming, the old man shouts that he's received hundreds of letters from everywhere, his table buried under the towering stacks. He snaps, demanding to know if anyone else is foolish enough to blurt out a retirement like she did. He admits he believed his disciple was defeated long ago, having only received letters and no further contact. He told the girl to bring every letter, he was going to burn them. Only one letter remains. The headmaster of Aplia Academy, Aaron Van Tieren. The old man warns, "Don't burn this one, it's normal." Inside, the headmaster writes again to his dear friend, Rosal Ventrius. Summer has begun at Aplia Academy, and the drive to learn is strong. He asks about semester preparations, writing not as a headmaster but as a friend. He asks if the mentor knows where the disciple, the Mage of Ashes, is. He concludes that the freshmen have the talent to lead in these tough times, making the teachers uneasy. Then he demands to know the disciple's whereabouts. Clutching the letters, the old man commands them to be burned without mercy. Blue flames flicker as the girl warns, "Are you sure about this?" Watching the letters burn, she hesitates. "Won't this cause trouble?" The old man snaps, "Enough nonsense, keep burning. There's still a pile left." Time flies as the girl tears through each letter, desperate to finish. After defeating them all, the old man turns to his apprentice, locking eyes with her. He asks how she suddenly changed gender and became a girl. The girl grows uneasy, breaks into a cold sweat, tries to avoid the topic, but ultimately speaks up. She reveals that after leaving the team, she ended up at a bar and into serious trouble. She explains she met a woman radiating sinister purple magic. She teetered on the brink of defeat, blood pouring across the arena. Growing weaker with every drop of blood lost, she finally collapsed to her knees. The purple mage advanced, conjuring an energy orb with a secret plan, but Rananiel refused to surrender. Springing forward, he launched a fierce counterattack. A swirling blue figure bursts forth, but he admits he doesn't know how it happened. As the girl burns more letters, the old man shrugs it off, trusting there's a reason for everything, and asks what she'll do next. Grateful for a second chance, the girl refuses to go back to the Magic Tower or the hero team. Unsure of her next step, she turns to her master for guidance. The headmaster's letter from Aplia Academy arrives. She studies the runes intently. The old man approaches in silence, strokes his beard, and joins the girl in quiet reflection. He asks if she's made up her mind, then pauses and adds, as the scene shifts to the grand towers of the Magic Academy, the old man asks if the girl would do a favor for the Royal Academy of Aplia and go there herself. At the Magic Academy, someone announces they found the perfect candidate for the new teacher. The headmaster's eyes light up as he beams, eagerly asking if it's true. The old man insists he's telling the truth, claiming to speak of one of the capital's top candidates. Aaron is stunned, certain they're talking about the Mage of Ashes, and grows anxious to finally meet him. The man swiftly opens the drawer and urges them to grab the contract. The moment he opens the drawer, the old man stuns everyone by revealing it's his newly adopted daughter, leaving the headmaster speechless. He notes the girl's powerful, dependable abilities, prompting the professor to ask about the long-awaited Mage of Ashes. Stunned into silence, the mentor scrambles to deflect, pretending not to understand his friend's question. He explains that the girl, Rana Ventrius, has impressive strength and solid abilities, qualities that could make her an excellent teacher, much to the headmaster's irritation. Jaw tight with anger, the man snaps, his friend once preached fairness, yet now pushes a relative. That can't happen at the academy, the world's cradle of learning. The old man grows irritated by his friend's stubbornness, his nerves beginning to fray. The headmaster boasts he managed alone for years, but his friend points out the truth. Every assistant quit, overwhelmed by the workload. Annoyed, Aaron slams the table. They ask if everyone realizes how crucial this year is, and urge honesty in hiring teachers. With a wave of his hand, papers whirl through the air letters from hopefuls eager to join the academy. We can't let them down, he declares. As chaos unfolds, the old man calmly sips his coffee and remarks, "Impressive." He insists this is yet another reason his daughter deserves a spot at the school, further infuriating the headmaster. After some time, the girl opens a door to the Royal Library, a haven of scientific instruments where students study the magical arts. As she walks the corridors, the girl reveals it's been 6 years since her last visit. She's only here now because her master ordered it. A girl glides by in silent red leather slippers, moving the opposite way. Her mentor's words echo in her mind. She'll soon be a teacher's assistant. But the news leaves her disheartened. She's already read every book in the school and feels she has nothing left to do there. All that's left is boredom. She walks on, determined to make the most of her months at school. A sudden noise draws her attention. She spins around to find its source. A boy experiments in frustration, complaining that the mana refuses to float. He tries to write runes, but it fails. He grumbles that the pen's mana won't flow. But this wasn't an isolated incident. Soon, others complained the mana had suddenly stopped floating. A student claims Mana paused to ask if it's anyone's first time in the library for one reason only. Confused, the girl questions why the mana isn't flowing, yet she presses on, unable to intervene, still locked in place. Salmon taps the MC's shoulder, revealing that mana only fails when the fourth princess, Lady Ayah, now at the Royal Library, is present. The two burles kneel to gather the scattered books as the protagonist apologizes, then she notices papers covered in mysterious runes among the debris. The protagonist freezes, breaking into a cold sweat as she locks eyes with the girl. She stands before her, the fourth princess, a star adored by stars themselves. Back in the headmaster's office, he remarks in surprise that even the princess wants to enroll. The old man remarks he's heard about their war updates, then scans the girl's record to judge her as a student. The headmaster questions if she deserves admission, revealing the front line fell again after the Mage of Ashes withdrew. Forced by circumstances, the princess began studying the circuit diagram. At last, the headmaster demands, "Where is my friend's disciple?" As she deftly collects the books, the protagonist instantly recognizes the woman before her, none other than the fourth princess, Ayah. She realizes this is the same girl who begged for lessons every time the MC visited the library 6 years ago. She marvels at how the girl has grown into a woman. Now, the princess stands silent and serious, uncertain, as she waits for the book's return. She asks if the white-haired girl is a mage, and the girl confirms she is. She scoffs, calling it pointless since the academy keeps recruiting inept mages, none of whom can solve problems or analyze circuit structures. Everyone is powerless except the Ash Mage. Then she demanded, "How many lives have mages like that claimed?" She challenges the girl, asking if she truly understands what it means to be a real mage. She quickly apologizes for the trouble and thanks the girl for picking up the dropped materials. But one paper lay on the floor, catching the protagonist's eye. He picked it up and called out to the girl, urging her to take it. She kindly offers the paper, catching the blonde girl's eye, reminding her of the page she left behind. As she picks up the paper, she wonders if it's a barrier circuit mapped out in rooms. Someone answers, "It's an esquibble," and the two lock eyes in tense silence. The protagonist reveals it's a circuit made from a human skeleton, shocking the blonde girl. Even off the battlefield, skilled mages struggle to crack this nearly unsolvable circuit. The blonde admits she's not sure she can solve it and asks for it back, but the MC encourages her to keep trying, saying she might just figure it out. The blonde falls silent, doubting herself, certain this person is someone significant. Annoyed, she snaps that she's had enough insults and tells the white-haired girl to fix the circuit herself if she wants it so much. Confidently, the MC moves her fingers, certain her knowledge will make it work, but nothing happens. The magic fails, and she's left wondering why. The princess explains that mana can't be used here due to a star-imposed restriction, then boasts that the stars have blessed her with mastery over a mage's mana. The heroine brushes off her words and unleashes blue magic onto the paper. Runes ignite behind her, surging with blue energy. She braces herself, planting her foot firmly to withstand the force of her unleashed magic. Magic stuns the students as the girl defies the impossible, filling the room with her aura. The students gasp in awe, eyes wide, voices rising with questions. What's happening, and what is that? A bespectacled girl questions if that's truly mana, since magic should be impossible with the princess here. Unfazed, the heroine unleashes her magic, filling the room with intricate runes and dazzling everyone with her formidable skill. The unmasked blonde gasps in disbelief as she witnesses the magic erupting around her. Amazed, she watches the white-haired girl summon the skeleton's barrier in a flash. Solving it was simple, but putting it into words felt nearly impossible. A voice calls for silence as the students are swept back by the magic's force. The girl completes her spell, turns to the blonde, and commands, "Watch closely, I'll show you myself." The protagonist's magic blazes through the royal school, lighting up the palace for all to see. Back at the house, the girl asks if he heard anything, but the mentor shakes his head. His friend is too stubborn to admit it. Suppressing a cough, the mentor reveals his friend's deep devotion to the academy. With a heavy heart, the protagonist admits being a teacher's assistant may no longer be possible and wonders what she'll do if she fails. As the man reassures her they'll find another way, three figures approach the secluded house hidden among the trees. As they converse, a sudden knock interrupts. Someone calls out, asking if the professor is home. Without waiting for a reply, the stranger barges in. The mentor faces him, asking, "Are you the royal escort, Mr. Harville? What brings you here?" The man asks if Rania is home, and the old man replies that his daughter is indeed there. He reveals a golden chest brimming with gold and clothes, announcing he has something for her. He steps up to the girl, announcing, "These are gifts from Princess Ayah." The white-haired girl is left speechless. She never expected a gift from Princess Ayah. The man explains it's to celebrate her new role as a teacher's assistant at the academy. Shocked, the protagonist reflects on her journey from Mage of Ashes to academy staff. Within the Grand Palace, someone informs the princess that the circuit diagram has reached the battlefield. But when the man admits his worry, the princess calmly asks what's wrong. He worries for Rania, since the barrier circuit she's analyzing is complex and easily misused. He quickly apologizes for speaking out of turn, but the girl reassures him. It's normal to feel that way. Head bowed, the blonde sighs. That's exactly why we called this meeting. The soldier announces that every Magic Tower master will attend, while the princess rises as her butler wonders if the white-haired girl will succeed. With unwavering confidence, she vows to succeed and urges them to believe in her. Gazing out the window at the sunlit forest, she vows to excel in the meeting. At her mentor's house, the white-haired girl is furious when she's told she has to wear a dress to the meeting. The man insists the girl quickly change into the princess's gifted dress and head to the meeting. The girl asks if all the masters will gather at the Magic Tower. The old man confirms they're all planning to attend. The masters have learned of a new student linked to the Magic Towers, and they're eager to test her. With the princess attending, make sure to dress your best and leave a lasting impression. Minutes later, the girl emerges in the formal attire, looking every bit the teacher. She realizes it's the same outfit she received as a gift while teaching the princess in the royal library. She pauses, lost in thought about the princess and all that surrounds her. She imagines the princess owns a closet full of identical dresses, scattering them everywhere, her excitement fading to disappointment. Pink trees transform every place they touch into something beautiful and enchanting. The mentor and his adopted daughter journey forward, hopeful for what lies ahead. Relaxing in his chair, the Black Magic Tower's master notes White's nerves, admitting he understands. After all, the Grey Magic Tower is on its way. Trying to ease the tension, he jokes that all this chatter is making him anxious. The master of the White Magic Tower claims it's not nerves. The man's eyes are simply fooled, as he's actually at ease. Their argument heats up as the Black Magic Master mocks her, claiming he doesn't waste elixirs chasing youth like she does. A bespectacled man grabs everyone's attention, announcing Professor Ventrius's arrival. By the professor's side stands his poised and graceful assistant, Rania Ventrace. All eyes turn to the professors, each master expecting greatness from the assistant girl. The old man who led the mighty Grey Magic Tower forged the power gap among all the towers. Stoneman sighs in relief, grateful that old Rosal didn't bring that monster this time. She beams with joy as her friend arrives alongside their mentor. She rises quickly to greet her colleagues, excitement in her eyes. Dressed in the grand outfit, the protagonist shifts uneasily, clearly unaccustomed to such attire. The three professors fix their gaze on her, each silently pondering. They've never seen anyone behave so strangely. Despite her impressive mana control, all three find her surprisingly ordinary. They dismiss it as mere rumor that the protagonist used mana before the princess, since she's a star. Minutes slip by as everyone settles into place, ready for the meeting to begin. As the girl sits with her mentors, unease washes over her. The meeting feels off. At last, a young woman with proper authorization requests the princess to begin the meeting. The White Magic Tower's master steps forward, welcoming the professor's new assistant and announcing that today's gathering is to assess Rania Ventrius. Old Rosal of the Grey Magic Tower, in charge of mana basics, declares that as an assistant, Rania must join the lesson, prompting Rania to note the woman's bold presence. The master slams her hand on the table, commanding the room's attention. She declares that Ranina will teach Lord Lark, the top student and future leader of House Grace, Commanders of the North, then pointedly asks if the girl is worthy of the task. The mage taunts her, claiming to see fear in her eyes and daring her to quit. The old man introduces the new White Tower student, teasing the woman for boasting about her pupil's importance. The Black Tower mage agrees, and the woman laughs, admitting the old man still knows how to read the room. But the Black Tower mage claims his friend doubts the assistant teacher's abilities, insisting that his own student, Belnoa, is the strongest of them all. He states that, no matter how talented the White Tower boy is, he could never single-handedly take down an organization like his student did. The mentor tenses up, announcing the new student from the Black Magic Tower. The two masters immediately clash, each mistaking the other's words for insults as tempers flare and fingers point. As the pointless argument unfolds, a bearded man looks on in mild disappointment, then calls for the floor, instantly silencing the quarrel. He claims to understand the Magic Tower's concerns about Aplia Academy. He insists his daughter's abilities should be judged by the very students she'll teach. His convincing argument brings a smile to the protagonist's face. She finds his proposal fair. He slams the papers onto the table. He claims his solution is right in front of them. All students must take the class test before the Academy's entrance ceremony. He announces he'll appoint his daughter as a supervisor. If she can handle it all, she'll be certified to teach. This terrifies the protagonist. The test is crucial for every school, but especially for the Academy. Famous and feared, the girl anxiously wishes she'd been warned sooner. She has no idea what being a supervisor even means. Time shifts to the entrance of Hermione Forest. The class clown loudly announces the test to everyone. The students are puzzled. They've taken this test before. In the comments, someone notes that a retake must mean the school is now filled with talented students. Another student storms over, demanding to know why the test is happening in this secluded forest. Impatiently, the man warns misbehaving students they'll be removed and orders everyone to gather around. Bored by the long explanation, the mage yawns in exhaustion. 4 students enter last as a voice calls out their arrival. These 4 are the Academy's top students. Among them stands the princess, a legendary blonde mage, said to be the strongest in history. The 4 stand out, each mastering unique strengths, and with the tower mages backing them, their talent is undeniable. The protagonist feels uneasy, envying the group's style and wishing she'd belonged to one like it in her own time. Amid the early morning chatter, the girl wonders if anyone here ever sleeps. As everyone assembles, the supervisor announces the test rules. Time passes, and a tree reveals a runic sign. The supervisor concludes, offering to repeat his explanation if needed. As the girl heads to the test site, the boy declares the class test is about to begin. Stifling a yawn, the girl leans in and admits she needs coffee to stay awake. The assistant begins by announcing he'll explain the test to the older students. Scanning the paper, the boy announces, "Let's start with introductions." He introduces his ally, the new assistant teacher. Blushing, Rania Vontrius greets everyone with delight. The students whisper about the girl's connection to Professor Roswell as they're split into 4 groups for the upcoming forest test. One group heads north, another south, a third east, and the last spreads west across the forest. A magic stone stands at each region's center. Students earn points for every second they keep their hand on it. Both defensive and offensive tactics are permitted during the test until a supervisor decides a student has crossed the line and steps in. Above all, never go near the mana at the heart of the forest. The man checks if everyone knows why they must keep their distance, while the protagonist questions why so much trouble is needed just to hold the test here. Smiling, the boy adjusts his glasses and says, "I just got an idea." He announces that the professor's assistant's assigned region is still undecided, catching the girl off guard. Arriving last, Rania is assigned the northern region by the assistant, who magically reveals the map and assures her he trusts she'll handle it smoothly. As the bespectacled boy explains, the students grow restless, especially as a newcomer is assigned to oversee the northern area, yet everyone listens intently. The man announces the start of the class test. As the team splits up, a bald student bids his friend farewell, promising to see her later. Teens assemble at blue rune circles, ready to be transported to the 4 regions. Startled, Rania reflects on her assignment to the dangerous North region. The boy with glasses relentlessly pressures and irritates the protagonist. He adds that there's more to reveal about the northern region, where her ally was stationed. Wearing a sly grin, the man reveals this is a special region, and, almost teasingly, adds that it's home to the Black Magic Tower's strongest student, Belmo. Introducing Larkfawn Grace, the top student of the White Magic Tower. The assistant then reveals both are in the northern region and asks if Rania is ready for her mission. With a sly grin, he asks if she's worried about handling that region. Rivalries run deep among the Magic Tower masters. The instant their prodigies are hurt, both sides will erupt. Rani spent years earning this chance. She won't let anyone take it from her. Pushing up his glasses, the man warns her that both are powerful battle mages and urges caution. Cold sweat trickling down, the girl insists everything will be fine, all while thinking the assistant is seriously underestimating her. Watching the students enter the ruins and vanish to their regions, the protagonist realizes this place is packed with oddballs. Off in the shadows, the boy with glasses lets out a sly, knowing laugh. In the Black Magic Palace, someone reports to the magic director the test has begun. Seated, the Black Magic Director anxiously awaits the test results, lost in reflection. He's secretly poring over the heroine's profile, reading every word. As he claimed he'd wait for the test results, something strange caught his attention. Suddenly, Rania Ventrius was appointed to oversee the top black magic student. Believing himself the sole witness, the Black Magic Master remembers his tower's secret experiments on humans who could store spells within their bodies. Yet, despite all his tower's research, he still can't uncover how many spells the girl holds within her. Even he, with all his power, couldn't unravel those ancient circuits. He snaps back to reality, relaxes, and decides to just enjoy the class test. No matter what, the test results must remain untouched. With a confident smile at his student, he declares, "It doesn't matter if Lark is a White Tower disciple, he'll never defeat Bell." He boldly declares he can already see doubt on the White Tower mage's face. The story moves north, where unparalleled magic radiates a powerful aura through the forest. The moment the test starts, a student dashes fearlessly into the darkness. Red magic surges from the ground beneath him. Shadow-weaving magic flows from the boy, enveloping the land and trees in darkness. Elsewhere in the north, a student strides forward with poised confidence. The White Tower disciple spots something ahead. He pauses, noticing the Black Tower disciple, and wonders if this is the boy the old mage spoke of. Haunted by his master's words to prove he's the best, Belnoa's eyes blaze with red energy as magic surges within him. Confidently he thinks, just another task like those at the tower. Spotting his enemy, the white-haired boy freezes in fear, desperate to escape defeat. He draws a sledgehammer from his cloak, roaring, "Don't hide, true warriors, stand and fight." The Black Tower boy lunges at his rival, magic surging around him. Belno unleashes a powerful surge of red mana, aiming to take down his foe in one decisive strike. The White Tower disciple, equally skilled, hurls his sledgehammer and axe at his rival. The axe slices through the red energy blast, blocking it for seconds and shielding everyone from harm. The young man eyes the axe, plotting his next spell to seize victory. He channels red magic into the axe or hurls it aside, dodging a swift defeat. Exhausted, he barely evades his rival's strike. He steadies himself after dodging, admitting this is tougher than he expected. Suddenly, he glances over, but his opponent has vanished. Curious about his enemy's fate until suddenly, Belno spots something above. The boy watches from the treetops, frozen before he can react. He looks up to see his enemy hurtling down from the trees, every inch the battle mage. The northerner's successor leaps from the trees, sledgehammer raised and haste skill activated, but just as he strikes, the White Tower disciple summons a red energy shield, blocking the attack. Lark leaps from the red energy, aiming to land gracefully and rejoin the fight. Staring at his foe, the emo-haired boy realizes the tale of splitting a troll in two was true. Watching the tireless man, he realizes this battle may be unwinnable. He points at his rival, declaring he hasn't lost yet. Red energy swirls around his hand, fueling his strikes. He pours mana into an offering spell, his finger snaps from the force. But now, as red magic surges to the treetops, his newfound power erupts. Something epic is about to unfold. From high above, the protagonist watches intently, impressed by the boy's skill and lively energy that makes the fight thrilling to witness. She says the Tower Masters boasted so much, it was impossible to separate truth from rumor. She notes they're both impressive, but Lark stands out, he's ready for battle now. No wonder the White Tower takes such pride in him. In contrast, the disciple from the Black Tower leaves her feeling disappointed and uninterested. She insists that, real battle or not, he's giving more than what's required. The stars are named Truth, shining as the world's greatest glory. They grant mages power in exchange for a price. This exchange is built on something vital to every mage. The divine scale makes it all possible, bestowing powers upon the mage for a price. A rare gift is mastering the divine scale, unlocking the true power of magic. Only a select few master magicians can wield it properly. Rejected by the stars, some sorcerers forged a new concept. A blue flame scale, forged in their divine image, pulses with energy drawn from skeletons and dark magic. Unlike divine scales, demonic scales demand different offerings. All it demands are human sacrifices. Seething with anxiety as Lark heads down a path he dreads, Belnoa admits he never planned to enter battle without a weapon. With his fingers shattered by magic and the black scale offering, he declares sacrifice is only natural. Belno's forefingers snap as red mana engulfs the arena. From a distance, the white-haired boy winces as dark magic creeps across his face. Guart's instincts scream as his powerful enemy approaches. Axes in hand, he declares he must retreat and wait for the perfect moment to strike. He laughs off the thought and boldly declares he won't back down. He charges ahead at full speed, declaring that a true warrior never retreats. With intense focus, the dark magic boy curses his foe, mocking his retreat and calling him a barbarian. Both unleash devastating attacks that no one can withstand. Their magic collides. Once again, their powers are perfectly matched. Lark attacks, but the Black Tower disciple counters with formidable magic. The axe bounces off the black magic dome, leaving it untouched. Irritated, the White Tower disciple senses a clear shift in his opponent. Furious, the Black Tower disciple demands to know who the boy thinks he is to decide what's normal. Driven by ambition, the boy boldly eyes his left hand, ready to sacrifice his fingers once more. He activates the offering magic. He shatters 3 fingers, fueling the dark magic. With every surge of red magic, a strange sensation ripples through the area, engulfing Lark. Belnoa, hands shattered but stronger than ever, stands poised to strike, waiting for his chance. Suddenly, Lark lunges forward, axes in hand. As the emo fires energy beams, Rania bursts into the fray, shouting for them to stop before it ends in tragedy. Annoyed, the white-haired boy demands to know what's going on. He can't move. Lark finds himself completely frozen, frustrated that his body won't respond. As she strolls calmly, Rania insists that offensive acts must be stopped before they cause harm. Unfazed, she unleashes her restriction magic, questioning if they've forgotten the duel's rules. She extends her hand, blue energy from the gray tower swirling as she readies a spell. With a swift motion, she draws in all the red magic, desperate to shield the forest. The Black Tower disciple is stunned as the girl wipes out his mana with a single move. The boy's shattered hands soak his clothes in blood. Her piercing gaze locks onto the Black Tower and disciple's hand, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. She declares she'll start by treating his badly injured hand. The boy's hand rapidly heals, returning to normal. Pinned to the ground, he watches his body rejuvenate as if untouched by battle, bewildered by the transformation. A cold sweat breaks out as he realizes the assistant has broken the Shadow Scale Pact. How could this be? She gazes calmly at the boy she just healed, unfazed by her own magic. Slip by. Fully healed, the boy stands tall while the white-haired rival admits defeat, his disappointment clear. Certain he couldn't escape the fight, he grew furious at his choices, convinced that shattering his enemy's arm was the only way. Instead of fading, his magic shadow remained, and without his arm, it would only grow stronger. He bows, acknowledging his downfall and admitting defeat. Crushed by defeat, he glances at the girl and asks if the professors surpass her strength, suddenly unsettled by the thought that she might be far more than just a supervisor. He declares this is all dull and agonizing, then wonders if the academy brought two elites here just to see one fall. She slips into her own world, believing that they're both worth training. They wonder how they'll pass the test. A bright idea sparks, lighting up her face with joy. She calls them to follow her. Time passes. They venture deep into the northern forest's crucial heart. The path they're on feels wrong. No supervisor should go near the Mana River in the forbidden area, yet that's exactly where she leads them, breaking all the rules. Smiling, she invited them to wade into the river for 1 minute. She declares, if the emo boy lasts 1 minute in the water, she'll ignore his use of dark magic. Same for Lark. Last 1 minute in the river, and she'll have Professor Roselle put him in the top ranks. Nervous but cunning, the emo boy asks if her pride will really let her back down. They say the Mana River makes your blood vessels explode, but that's just rumor. At worst, vessels rupture and your lungs fill with fluid. And only a slim chance of reaching heaven. Unsure and nervous, they hesitate at the entrance, admitting they don't know what awaits inside. The Black Tower's disciple. He resolves to dive into the river, just as the girl asked. Inspired, the white-haired boy declares, if my rival's doing it, so am I. A northern warrior never accepts defeat. Annoyed, Belle refuses to accept being outdone, yet pushes the thought aside. The girl calmly approaches the riverbank and urges them to step in. Lark steps in first, unfazed at the start. Surprised by how easy it seems, he wonders if he'll really be defeated so quickly. But after a single second, agony suddenly tears through their bodies. Another second slips by, and the emo boy gasps for air, overwhelmed by the chaos. She counts the seconds as the two disciples writhe in agony, nearly overwhelmed. A moment later, the girl urges them to speak up when the river's torment becomes unbearable. She perches on a riverside stone, feet in the water, numb to its touch. Stunned and nearly defeated, Lark feels his mouth fill with fluid. Belno gasps for air, teetering on the brink of defeat. Feet submerged, the girl remains calm and untouched, while the disciple's suffering only grows with time. By the Mana River deep in the forest, two students rest after a long journey. They recall their last battle, admitting it was so tough they doubted they'd survive. One boy remarks that even if the girl is the Grey Tower's magical heir, she's still leagues above the rest. Drawn to the forest, they spot Mana by the river and sense they don't belong here. One boy struggles to breathe, while his friend spots the Mana River just ahead. Panicked, they sprint from the river, shouting warnings. Getting any closer will make them choke on fluid. The scene shifts back to safety. A protagonist counting every second as her allies struggle to survive in the river. At 47 seconds, the emo boy is nearly overwhelmed, his strength sapped by the river's powerful pull. The white-haired boy strains every muscle to withstand the river's force. With 11 seconds left, the girl watches as her allies withstand the river's assault. Bored, the girl props her face on her hand, unfazed by a task that feels effortless, unlike her struggling allies. 50 seconds in, the MC turns to Lark and calls his name, ready to reveal something crucial. She asked the boy how it felt to be alone and terrified in that relentless blizzard, with no hope of rescue, just cold and fear. He asks the boy if he knows what those who conquer Mother Nature's blizzards are called. They are known as Greater Warriors, the finest fighters of all. They refuse to be defeated by trivial challenges. These are the true warriors of the North. Only the best endure to the end, and this drives the student, blue aura surging from his body. Enchanted by the river's magic, the boy struggles forward, fighting to survive. 2 seconds later, the boy's eyes turn pure white as fluid begins to seep out. At the 1 minute mark, the boy collapses from pain and exhaustion, but not before achieving his warrior's goal. Had he fallen into the river, he would have died instantly. But the girl grabs him just in time. Cradling her ally, the protagonist admires his remarkable endurance. As she drags the boy from the river, the MC admits she would have let him go if he'd lasted just 30 seconds, given his huge disadvantage. But it wasn't needed. The boy summoned all his strength, taking 3 bold steps to survive like a true warrior. She turns to the emo, mocking him. That white-haired boy's braver than you. Isn't it pathetic to need offerings just to handle pain? She yanks him back by the collar, admitting she sees his resolve. After slamming them to the ground, they see both boys have fainted, the pain overwhelming, survival itself their only victory. Gazing at the 2 boys on the ground, the girl recalls how, long ago, she too was pushed to try this and failed. As she walks the riverbank, the girl wonders what questions she should ask now. She wonders what her future holds, lost in thoughts about what lies ahead. The forest is named Hermain after the ancient tree at its heart. Gifted to Aplia long ago by an ancient dragon mage, the tree holds powerful magic. Above the tree line, the river swells with mana, transforming into a powerful surge of pure energy. She's unstoppable. Confident nothing can harm her, she steps into the river and lets herself relax. She explains that as someone nears this place, the dense mana reacts with their own, swiftly overwhelming them with crushing force. The girl scans the water, searching for something and trying to recall its exact location. She remembers taking the test, the searing pain as blood vessels screamed, crushed between Mina and pressure, tormenting her with relentless hallucinations. 7 or 8 years ago, she braved the Demon Lord's army and survives their demonic energy. But now, at the Mana River, she wonders how much more she can endure. She insists she'll feel something soon, but suddenly, a jolt startles her, leaving her confused and frozen. Surrounded by water, she suddenly realizes she's adrift in the river, numb to it all. Grinning with excitement, she finally admits how thrilled she is by her own strength. Gazing at the river, she remembers the hero team's frustration, but realizes it was all worth it. The scene moves to a meeting room behind a rustic wooden door, where the boy with glasses, visibly irritated, demands what the girl means since no one from the north passed the test. Mirrors bristling, he snaps. If this goes on, he'll take the blame for the student's failure. Furious, he turns to face the 2. Wondering why they look so foolish after failing with the top 2 students. Crushing the paper on the table, he admits the blame will fall on him. He was in charge of the test. Stroking his beard, the shrewd mentor insists someone did pass. The bespectacled boy accuses him of favoritism toward his daughter, but the old man cuts him off. Has he even seen the grades? He notes Lark Van Grosh's sharp instincts and strong will, while the emo boy from the Black Tower excels in both sorcery and combat. He insists both talents deserve educational rewards for their exceptional skills as warriors. The old man asks if the supervisor wants the 2 placed in the advanced class. With a flick of magic, he reveals the headmaster's letter from Aplia Academy, proving their abilities, not the influence of the White or Black Towers, earned them their evaluation. Both end up in the same class, making the boy with glasses visibly anxious. The old man proudly claims credit, and the boy, at a loss for words, forces a fake smile and agrees. Rising from the table, the bearded man declares the meeting over and urges everyone to go their separate ways. Instantly, the girl exclaims her curiosity. How does the old man never tire of living this way? Beaming with pride, the mentor smiles and praises the girl for expertly supervising her first-class test. With a smile, the girl admits watching them use magic brought back memories of her own beginnings. The argument is, they relied on hand-to-hand combat, despite being mages meant to use magic. She adds that if they'd used magic to survive the battlefield, they wouldn't have suffered so much. Gazing at his daughter, the old man recalls she has no idea she inspired the battle mage class. Then he ends the conversation. He turns to his daughter and orders her to stop complaining and check on the 2 boys in the infirmary after the fight. The girl slips quietly toward the infirmary, marked by a wooden sign etched with runes, careful not to disturb a soul. As she heads to the infirmary, 2 people approach from that direction, making her question if she's on the right path. Having studied here before, she knows she's on the right path. The infirmary is this way. The mage from the White Magic Tower approaches the girl, asking sharply, "Are you Rania Vontrius?" She demands how a supervisor who failed a simple test dares to show his face here. As she approaches, the White Magic Tower's head senses the girl's arrogance, reminding her that, even within the academy, a tower master deserves respect. Irritated, she mutters that the protagonist struts through the corridors like she owns them. The most important person here? Wearing a wicked grin, the woman snaps that she has every right to impose her own rules. She stomps on the protagonist's foot, sneering that she's just a nameless mage posing as an assistant teacher. She unleashes a torrent of insults, leaving the girl stunned by the mage's selfishness. Annoyance flickers across the man's face as he listens, convinced the woman is completely unhinged. Fearing retaliation, the man questions if his friend understands that unseen enemies are the most dangerous. He shouts to his friend, urging her to back off and leave the girl alone, but it's already too late. Lightning crackles at the woman's fingertips as she moves to shock the protagonist, her friend growing more agitated by her reckless display. Yet the protagonist remains unfazed, fully aware of her power. She stands unafraid, mastering her body and emotions as lightning crackles inches from her face. Just before the blast reaches the girl, the white mage grins excitedly and says she can control her power, then asks what the girl thinks. Suddenly, a powerful explosion erupts, stunning everyone with a thunderous crash. Lightning erupts from the wreckage and the gaping hole. Terrified, the white tower mage spins around, struggling to grasp the chaos as debris crashes down. She whirls to her friend, shouting, "Stop hijacking my spells!" But he freezes in shock, realizing the protagonist hijacked the spell. He glares at the girl, white eyes narrowed in frustration, realizing he missed her casting the spells. As his friend questions her actions, he tries to ease the tension with a subtle cough. Feigning ignorance, he warns her that showing off gets her nowhere and urges her to mind her manners. Cold sweat trickling, he turns to the woman and urges her to follow as he goes after the disciples. Witnessing this, the protagonist steadies herself, fighting the urge to act impulsively. As they leave, the MC overhears them plotting how to behave around her. Calmer now, the girl admits she deserved a beating for taking the disciples to the Forbidden Manor River, but grumbles aloud that they should have left her shoes alone. Realizing the chaos she caused by hijacking the white mage's magic, she admits she went too far and made things worse than intended. Time passes at Aplia Academy, and a bright, beautiful day dawns. A student moves through the academy halls. As she walks by, students gasp in shock and fear at the sight of her. All eyes are on the pink-haired girl, intimidating and powerful. Lesty Eleanor, heir to the Grey Magic Tower, wields unmatched power. Seated, she contemplates the Manor River, the talk of the town. Lost in concentration, her thoughts drift with the river. 2 days ago, during a class test, the guru secretly manipulates the magic stone as 2 students watch. Terrified, they suggest giving up and leaving for another region, since getting the stone here is just too hard. Suddenly, the girl hears their voices and focuses, trying to pinpoint their exact location. She closes her eyes, channeling her magic to activate shared vision. The magic lets the purple-haired girl see through her bird's eyes. Through the bird's eyes, she sees most competitors have quit. Brimming with confidence, she wonders if victory is already hers. Suddenly, something catches her eye. She stares in shock. In their shared vision, she sees the northern supervisor standing by a stone. She's stunned. Why is the girl soaked when only the river holds water in this forest? As she watches the protagonist drive off, she's stunned. No one should be able to enter the river. Not even Rananiel ventured near the heart of the Manor River. Haunted by comparison, she studies relentlessly, determined to outshine the Grey Mage. She thinks, with a tinge of sadness, that no one in the Grey Tower will ever surpass him. The students in the classroom eagerly await today's lesson theme. The class is stunned as an unfamiliar teacher walks in instead of their usual professor. The pink-haired girl gasps in shock as she recognizes the teacher's voice. Rania steps in as the new teacher, announcing she'll be taking Rosal's place. She greets everyone with a warm smile, thrilled to meet them. Class starts, and every student listens intently. As the monster listens intently, he wonders, could the teacher be the girl from the rumors? Smiling, the princess recalls Professor Caesar's words. The girl was hired for her family ties. At last, the northern hare is puzzled. Why does the professor need an assistant now? A smile hides her nerves as excitement bubbles up. The first class begins. In a flashback, the mentor asks his disciple to teach his class while he attends a magic meeting. He's left speechless when he realizes the assistant teacher is the girl he saw bathing in the river. Assigning tasks, she challenges her students to solve them. Shuffling her papers, she invites her students to ask questions or clear up doubts. The moment the papers are handed out, a student shoots up their hand with a question. Curious, the girl agrees to listen, even though class has just begun. The purple-haired girl who needed help with question 30 spoke up. Whispers ripple from the back, only Roswell can solve question 30 on defined scale theory. She studies the question closely, determined to understand it and answer correctly. A student jokes that the teacher is just faking it. Another bully mocks her, claiming that since it's her first day, she's clueless. She's clearly out of her depth in Professor Rosal's advanced classes. Professors warn that the other students don't think like her, urging her not to teach them so simply and directly. Confused, the girl insists that's how she learns, but the old man, growing irritated, reminds her the other students don't think like she does. He urges her not to hold back simply because she's an assistant teacher. The girl gasps, "Are you really sure?" She realizes that revealing her true power would only create more trouble. Determined to teach properly, she starts explaining the question. Disappointed, the Grey Tower's leader admits she expected more from Professor Roswell, grumbling that, nepotism aside, the girl still needs to master the basics before teaching anyone. He selfishly insists it's far too early for the girl to become a key assistant teacher. Annoyed, the protagonist snaps that if the girl wants divine scale, she can summon it herself. Aplia Academy's grand facade comes back into view. They stand before the headmaster's office. A group of men grumble impatiently about being kept waiting. As he nears the office, the old man is startled by the unexpected crowd. The two grumble that, because of someone, the students spent the whole class daydreaming. In the headmaster's office, others voiced their concerns, wondering if the same strange event happened in their rooms, certain they witnessed something forbidden. They complained that the assistant teacher summoned the divine scale in class. But inside, a professor still can't believe it's real. With a sneer, he claims an assistant teacher could never summon the divine scale so effortlessly. To materialize it, one must grasp every detail of the exchange with the stars, an impossible feat. They argue, insisting their students witnessed it firsthand, making denial impossible. It's all a lie. Another suggests it can be quickly solved if they check it themselves. The bearded man bristles with irritation, demanding to know what his apprentice has done as his mind races with possibilities. Frustrated after leaving, the mentor grumbles that the assistant's chaotic start has only confused the students. He shouts that Dan Rose will cause chaos, yet doesn't even bother to show up and control his apprentice. Incensed by the professor's insults, the headmaster slams his hand on the table and demands silence, his patience wearing thin. If the professors have doubts about the girl, they should meet her themselves and decide. The headmaster commands the assistant to teach a public class. Runes swirl through the air as papers belonging to the purple-haired girl scatter, leaving her stunned as they blanket the floor. Embarrassed, she lowers her gaze and reaches to retrieve her belongings. Suddenly, a tiny fairy appears, offering to collect the papers and checking if her master is all right. She swiftly scoops up the papers and hurls them at the boy. With a snap of her fingers, she magically sorts every paper into place. But then, none of this cheers her up. Her face remains serious and irritated. She's trapped in her last class, replaying how the assistant teacher conjured the scale with ease. As Selman crouches to pick up the last paper, the girl questions if it was a trick. After all, materializing it should be impossible. Lark picks up the last paper and asks if the girl truly needed to go to such lengths to find what she wanted. Annoyed, he tells her she'll have to teach an open class, then asks why his friend is always so unhappy. Irritated, she snatches the paper and snaps, "Don't talk if you don't know what's going on." He snaps, urging her to stop hiding her feelings. Meanwhile, Emo watches, dryly noting that anyone passing by could feel the tension crackling between them. He says none of this would have happened if the girl had stayed in the north during the test. The white-haired boy says the girl never needed to prove herself in public. Emo mocks that even barbarians would get that, but Lark calls it cruel and urges him to ignore the comment. The bickering only deepens the purple-haired girl's embarrassment. She sweats nervously, unsure what to do. Frustrated, she snaps, "What would two magic tower prodigies even know?" and walks away, her steps eerily silent. Annoyed, she remarks that the Grey Tower is meant to stay in the shadows, yet she lingers, convinced the protagonist must be losing it while preparing for the open class. Every teacher from every tower will be there. This time, no trick or luck can save the MC. As time slips by, the sun sets over the forest. Inside the cafe, someone praises the protagonist's hard work and congratulates her. The waitress approaches and extends her hand. The teacher's coffee order left her slightly embarrassed. She's still not used to that name. She's handed a black coffee and a few sugar cubes. As she picks up a sugar cube, the girl wonders if teachers often hold open classes like the one she's about to lead. Nervous, she wonders if this is normal. She's speaking to the princess, who praises her for a job well done. Startled, the protagonist realizes she's been thinking out loud, confirmed when the girl replies, "Yes, you were." Staring at her coffee, the girl shares that a student invited her after her first class. As she sips, she smiles, thinking it must mean her lesson went well. The blonde girl replies that they met during a class test and admires the girl's unique, captivating style. She notes the girl always wanders when lost, just like someone she remembers. The protagonist touches her chin, puzzled, struggling to recall who it could be. She rises from the table, flashing the princess a warm, grateful smile. She smiles, saying she feels much better thanks to the girl, but she has to leave now to prepare for the open class. The princess beams with joy at these words. The girl smiles, eager for the teacher's class. After a few days, the highly anticipated open class arrives. Teachers gather around a board announcing it on Mana Exchange, grumbling in dissatisfaction. The board is inscribed with mysterious, magical runes. A teacher remarks he's never heard of an open class at the academy and finds it strange. His colleague questions if the director actually approved it, sparking an argument between them. The directors of the White and Black Towers gather with their disciples, noting that the assistant teacher will lead the class. With a laugh, the White Tower teacher remarks, "I smell something rotting." Irritated, the man retorts that what she smells is actually her own attitude. Once again, the two argue fiercely as their disciples watch in uneasy silence. The assassin glances at his friend and admits he was dragged into this dull class too. Hearing a bell from the hallway, the Northern Warrior realizes class is starting and quickly heads over. Radiating a mystical aura, the protagonist glides past her students toward the open classroom. The two directors fix their gaze on the girl as she walks by. They spot the girl clutching a folder stuffed with papers covered in magical runes. As class begins, the room falls silent as all eyes turn to the teacher. The protagonist seizes a wax crayon, launching the class and demonstrating her power to bring the scale to life. The classroom is packed, all eyes fixed on the girl's feet once more. The room is packed with curious onlookers and students, leaving some forced to stand in the back. Chalking runes on the board, the girl announces that today's open class will cover the basics of man exchange. She introduces herself. To every student and professor here today, she smiles and says, she may lack elegance, but commands everyone's attention to the lesson. Unfazed by the crowd, the girl steps up and announces the start of class. The old professor scoffs, insisting an assistant can't handle an open class and should know her place. To everyone's surprise, the White Tower director announces full support for the teaching assistant. She admits she's eager to see how the lesson plays out. After all, it can't be more than a game, just like the true mages say. The other professors watch closely, eager to see what unfolds in the classroom. She inhales deeply, steadying herself before teaching. She exhales, her face settling into calm determination. Unexpectedly, she recites the basics, just 3 steps to activate a spell, simple rules even a child would know. But all of this is meaningless if the protagonist is truly. Knowing something and teaching it are worlds apart. The professors there boast centuries of mastery in both magic and teaching. A mere girl shouldn't grasp such knowledge so easily. Suddenly, the protagonist clasps her hands and unleashes a powerful spell, cutting off the old woman and stunning everyone. With a swift gesture, the girl summons the divine scale, leaving the professors in awe. Many refuse to believe this is real. Irate, a professor calls the classroom tricks vulgar, while the elderly, white-haired woman brusquely demands someone move so she can see the divine scale. At last, everyone sees the truth. The divine scale, the ultimate star-defying spell, stands revealed before them. The professors watch in stunned silence as magic swirls through the air. The protagonist steps forward, ready to demonstrate the first step of spell activation. With a wave of her magic, she sketches a room in mid-air, revealing the creation of the circuits. A golden Star of David appears at the room's center. Merging her magic with the divine scale, the girl bursts forth in a dazzling explosion of color. A professor watches in awe, captivated by the delicate majesty of her actions. He marvels at how such delicate magic can achieve absolute perfection. Blue flames flicker from her hands as she declares, "The second step is to pay the price." Blue flames twirl in her palm as she declares, "The price is mana." She places the magic on the scale, warning it must be perfectly balanced. Watching her actions, she explains that only a precise amount of mana can balance the divine scale without breaking it. At last, she unleashes the magic, unleashing a mysterious force upon the divine scape. Snapping her fingers, the girl declares they must set the spell's direction, then unleashes the ignition magic, sparking a massive explosion that engulfs the classroom in flames. She watches. Proud her creation came to life. She explains these are the 3 steps to activate the spell. Amazed by the blazing flame, he marvels at the teacher's skill, while the purple-haired girl scowls, frustrated by the assistant's unexpected success. Cold sweat beads on her brow as the director of the White Tower grows tense, unable to deny the magic before her eyes. The reveal uncovers hidden traces of star magic in the spell, allowing the girl to bend it to her will. Casting the same spell dozens or even hundreds of times. It's still just the same spell. Starlight becomes bound to the spell, concealing the essence of magic itself at higher levels. The blazing fireball captures every gaze as the old woman declares it extreme magic. Smiling, she says this is enough. She always knew the Starker friend wouldn't let her down. She knows everyone in the room understands how to cast magic. The girl starts. Everyone walks the path of magic, but why is it called that? Studying the lesson, the woman explains, as its name implies. This path is meant to be walked, each step sharpening their magic. As a child, she devoured every book she found to sharpen her magical skills. Battling foes non-stop, the old woman realizes they've spent countless hours just to prove their mastery. The black-haired man declares, "This alone explains everything." Remembering countless hours spent among towering stacks of books, determined to become the master he is now. He looks at the blonde girl and says they all leap into the unknown, never forgetting the path beneath their feet. As the explanation ends, the protagonist reveals the blazing divine scale, declaring it the foundation of the entire path. The Black Tower's director and his disciple are left speechless, while the old woman and her apprentice, who hoped for the girl's failure, are proven wrong. Seething, the old woman shouts the very words she expected from the MC, proclaiming, "That's exactly what I would have said." Realizing this isn't in any textbook, her disciples break into a nervous sweat as he watches the scene unfold. The old woman slams her hand on the table, rises with fury, and curses the assistant teacher, insisting this is a 3rd-level classroom. Amid the chaos his master is causing, Lark stares in shock, asking if she's all right. Frustrated, the mage snaps and refuses to respond. Reluctantly impressed, the woman claps for the assistant teacher, her annoyance still obvious. The future northern warrior questions his master's strange behavior. He rises from his seat, joining in the applause. He starts clapping, surprising his classmates and inspiring others to join in. Today, the princess stands proud. Her friend joins in, clapping with genuine happiness at the lesson. Leslie isn't surprised. She's annoyed, refusing to clap and wearing a stern expression. The protagonist observes. The room erupts in applause as she summons and manifests the divine scale. She hadn't expected this, she just stood there, wide-eyed and speechless. At last, she exhales, relaxes, and flashes a proud smile. Her students now know it was all real. With a smile, she declares, "These are the fundamentals of mana exchange," and concludes the open class. Inside Aplia Academy, students whisper about their teacher. As they stroll down the hallway, two girls admire the assistant teacher, Rana. As the protagonist walks the halls, students whisper they should have attended class, praising the flawless divine scale she created. Skeptical students just laugh it off as a mere rumor. 3 students huddle in a circle, animatedly gossiping about the teacher's latest move. Shy and uneasy, the protagonist feels every stare pierce right through her. She wonders why she's been suddenly called to the director's office. The director, now seeing her as the future of magicians, spoke of entrusting the academy to her, a sharp change from his attitude in the early weeks. The white-haired girl glances toward her mentor, who's quietly chatting with a bearded man beaming brighter than usual today. Grinning, the old man chuckles and asks, "Do I really look that happy?" The old woman joins her disciple in praising the young woman's impressive performance in the last class. The Black Tower Mage also admits it's impossible to gauge someone's true strength at first glance. As they walk, the old man asks if she plans to head straight to the Grey Tower, but reminds her she must meet the elders first. He says the elders are probably eager to see her and could appear at any moment. Amid a raging blizzard on a frozen mountain, a letter written in red ink asks a father how he's been. A dignified, long-haired man sips coffee, his eyes scanning the letter with grave intensity. Keep reading. It's been a month since they entered the academy, and each day reveals just how much more there is to discover in this magical world. Now, watch this. He gestures to the board of runes, driving his point home. Lark is revealed as the letter's author, ending with a confession. Learning here is incredibly tough. He watches his teacher unveil a new kind of magic. He admits that fitting in and learning is tough. He admits the academy's lessons are so complex he can't understand a thing. Just listening to his teacher leaves him dizzy. He claims he can't learn a thing, yet, day by day, this school helps him grasp a little more. Glancing at his exhausted classmates, he admits that knowing he's not alone keeps him going. He warns that mastering magic is a long and grueling journey. A book slams onto the pile with a bang. The protagonist clutches her head, muttering, "This is bad. When did everything get so chaotic?" She's surrounded by a chaotic sea of books, covering every surface and spilling across the floor. She stammers, claiming she's been too busy to clean her own room. Sinking into the couch, she realizes she hasn't had a moment to herself since she began teaching. A thought strikes her. If she leaves the front line, she'll have no reason to face the elders. Her habit of retreating from tense situations has eased over time. Her teaching is going well, too, with no one questioning until now. Classes are going smoothly, and just as the girl pauses to rest, a visitor steps in, requesting a talk, leaving the protagonist disheartened and drooling, frustrated by the terrible timing. The door creaks open, tension thickening the air. As the teacher wipes her face and closes the door, the sad, shy, purple-haired girl enters. The teacher turns to her and gently asks, "Do you have a question?" Wearing a forced smile, the protagonist silently wonders the girl's name. Searching for the right name, but it just won't come. With a gentle smile, the girl steps forward and says she has something to tell the protagonist. Blushing with embarrassment, she admits she must apologize for being a troublemaker in past classes. She realizes she must confess to her teacher she'd forgotten the joy of learning, until the protagonist reignited it. She rediscovered her passion for learning. At last, she thanks the teacher for everything. Suddenly, someone bursts into the room. The newcomer politely remarks, "So this is where you've been all along." A crowd approaches, claiming they've been searching for the protagonist. An elder from the Grey Magic Tower bows respectfully, praising her lesson, while another proudly declares such brilliance is expected from a disciple of Rosal. Another suggests the girl has invented a new method, praising her beautiful spells and impressive mastery at such a young age. Wavering, the girl realizes that after all these years, nothing has changed. They're still struggling to earn her trust. Still, she never expected those lazy people to come all the way just to say that. Suddenly, the student talking to the MC drops all their books onto the floor. In an instant, the books crash to the floor with a thunderous noise, and the girl screams in panic over her scattered materials. Annoyed, the 3 glare at the girl as she apologizes. The bearded man snaps, calling the girl useless. She's left shivering in sorrow. Silent and disappointed, the Grey Tower disciple observes the 3 elders from the shadows. As the elders discussed the magic tower, the impatient girl quickly asked for permission. She tells them she has things to do and asks all 3 to leave for today. Backing the purple-haired student, she asserts the academy is for learning, not magic, and students come first. She forces a smile and warns them to get home safely. Realizing the message, the 3 storm off, grumbling in frustration. Lesty, confused, looks to the teacher for help, but the protagonist quickly directs her to the other side. She takes the main stairs to avoid the men, then hurriedly slams the door in the girl's face. She brushes her off with a quick goodbye, slamming the door in the apprentice's face and leaving her alone, baffled by what just happened. She turns back to her desk, piled high with papers and books. Red liquid pools on the floor, staining everything in its path. The liquid seeks from the girl herself, who smiles and admits she'd forgotten about it. As she spreads the liquid, a sharp pain pierces her heart. It's back again. War rages in Kilmerd Gorge. Fallen soldiers litter the ground, swords driven through their hearts. The captain shouts, desperate for his weary soldiers to hold the line, urging them to stand firm even if it costs their lives, as exhaustion weighs heavily from the brutal battle raging around them. A soldier locks eyes with a demon, questioning how much longer they can survive this cursed battlefield. Defeated, he shuts his eyes, longing for rest, unable to endure any more. Before he falls, a blur streaks past, charging straight at the enemy. A blazing flash surges forward, obliterating the rival's hand. The soldier stands frozen, shocked, and desperate to know who struck. He looks ahead and recognizes Miss Limia's magic-charged arrow. A young woman strides onto the battlefield, her mighty bow in hand, instantly lifting the soldier's spirits. She charges at the monster as the girl, clearly annoyed, readies her bow to strike. She hesitates, thinking it's a waste, but releases the arrow anyway, a surge of yellow energy blazing forth. Inspired, the soldiers rally, shouting that the divine archer fights with them, and charge fearlessly at the demon army. Yet, despite it all, the hopeless boy collapses to his knees, doubting their chances and feeling utterly powerless. A surge of green healing light bursts across the boy's body. The hero team's cleric heals the boy to full strength, preparing him to fight bravely. With unwavering faith, the girl prays, unleashing a surge of green healing energy over the soldier. Despite her support role, she looks at the fighters with clear disgust. The hero team's leader bursts onto the scene, glowing yellow and cutting down foes with every swing of his sword. The crowd erupts, cheering as their hero Kyle arrives to save them. With a powerful blow, the warrior vanquishes the demon beast. The soldiers cheer as the hero team reaches full strength. As time slips by, the soldiers raise a white flag in victory. The chief wipes sweat from his brow, celebrates, and orders the survivors to spread word of their triumph. In truth, every soldier had fallen. The cheers echo only in the warrior's mind. A voice calls Kyle's name, jolting him back to reality. The pink-haired girl hugs the man, calls his name, and asks if he can hear her. As she wipes her sword, she grumbles about the lingering stench of the undead on her clothes, wondering if it's time for new outfits. She grumbles about wearing the same outfit twice, prompting the blonde to mutter, "Quit your nonsense." Nervous about being scolded, the girl mutters that the fight would have ended sooner if that annoying mage were here. With a mischievous laugh, the cleric agrees, mocking that the mage must be ready to meet his maker right now. Eyes narrowed, the man boasts that the boy could never have survived the curse without him. Night falls. The protagonist strides alone through a deserted city, destination unknown. Against all odds, he endured the pain and survived. Suddenly, pain surges in his chest, forcing him to scream, "It's happening again." The sensation drains his strength, his heart sinking into a crimson abyss. Desperate to survive, he clutches his chest and unleashes ash magic from his heart. The soothing ashes envelop him, easing his pain and granting a brief moment of calm. Staring at his bloody hand, he admits he's kept the disease at bay until now. As he wipes it clean, he grumbles that this is only a temporary fix. Frustrated, he presses on, questioning why this is happening to him. He whispers that sacrificing half his life bought him time by binding the demon lord's legs. In saving his friends, he brought a curse upon his own heart. He wanders the empty city, searching for someone, certain their house is nearby. He stops at the wooden sign, relief washing over him. He's finally found the place. A strange, secret house lies hidden in the city, and he grumbles that it's as weird as ever. He's searching for an old man, black-eyed, with a wild, unshaven beard. Without hesitation, the protagonist throws the door open. Spotting the visitor, the old man walks over, wondering who'd come so late. He spots her outfit and immediately remarks that her strange hobbies haven't changed since they last met. Locking eyes with her, he slyly calls out her old name, Rananiel, instantly revealing he knows her true identity. With a deep sigh and a wry chuckle, the girl asks, "Do you really think I look like this by choice?" The man, visibly hurt, asks if she isn't being too harsh on a friend after all this time apart. He says her transformation runs deeper than looks. Her very soul has changed. Pointing at the girl, he declares her heart is now cursed. The old man, remembering the warrior's past, demands to know what happened in the last 5 years. She pauses, silently weighing her response. Weeks earlier, a bustling crowd filled the city streets. In a cluttered city alley, 2 drunken figures sprawl amid debris, hurling curses at the protagonist. Back inside the bar, tables overflow with scattered food and drinks. The Grey Mage sits in sorrow, questioning why he's always mistreated. Renowned as the kingdom's top mage and heir to the Grey Magic Tower, he turned his back on a brilliant destiny. He cast aside his destiny to begin embark with a team of heroes. Drowning his sorrows, he reaches for a glass of milk at the bar. Gazing at his sturdy staff, he murmurs, "I never imagined I'd be cast out so suddenly." Ashamed, he slumps over the table, confessing he's too embarrassed to face his master. In the back of the bar, a striking woman with long red hair and elegant attire catches the protagonist's eye. The boy is stunned as he realizes she's the infamous succubus queen. Magnificent and mesmerizing, she's surrounded by men vying for her attention, leaving the protagonist questioning her own presence. Music erupts outside the city, captivating everyone and keeping the city awake. The enchanting melody's voice is none other than the succubus queen, who enters the bar and instantly captivates every gaze. With a gentle smile, she tells her followers, "This is the path you must take." An army trails behind her, spellbound by her beauty. Pink magic radiates from her as she commands the men to line up and enter calmly. She smiles, knowing exactly how much control she has over her admirers. As she approaches, she jokes, "Looks like I'm feasting on bar food tonight." In the background, the protagonist trails Sukubi's army, determined to uncover the truth. Blending in with the succubus queen's followers, he watches as she sharply warns a man not to stumble. The mage surges with power, channeling magic to supercharge his muscles. His right arm bulges with strength, while his left blazes with a brilliant blue glow, runes shining across its surface. Driven to purge the world of demonic plague, he unleashes a surge of blue magic and storms his enemy. The succubus, surrounded by fanatical followers, is blindsided and powerless to respond. Fueled by fury, the protagonist lunges forward, aiming to seize and overpower her with magic. He seals the bar's door shut, locking out her allies and turning up the heat of the battle. The followers watch the door close. Some leave, others remain, waiting. As the succubus is pulled by her clothes, she screams in fear, begging the man to wait, confessing her confusion. Terrified by the looming battle, she desperately asks who the mage before her is, but he shows no hesitation, no mercy. He unleashes his magic and reaches out to the succubus. He strikes her with a flurry of magic and anti-magic attacks. He thrusts his finger at her, unleashing every spell and draining her strength, then triggers his anti-shield magic, shattering her defenses and inflicting devastating damage. Utterly drained, the succubus realizes her rival has instantly cancelled her polymorph and shattered her mana shield. Stunned, she questions the identity of the mysterious man. The battle rages on as the protagonist swiftly forms a three-finger symbol, readying a powerful attack. He casts a weakness spell, leaving the girl even more stunned. Each incantation strips away her facade, exposing her true, far from sweet nature. Seething with fury, the succubus snaps her fingers and conjures a new spell. The protagonist outpaces her, unleashing punishment magic that ravages her stomach and leaves her barely clinging to life. The impact is brutal. The succubus hacks up blood, reeling from the force. Weak and gasping, she collapses to her knees, coughing as her unmoved rival towers above her. He pulls up a chair and sits before the trapped, defeated succubus, ready to talk. He asks if she's ever changed and if she still remembers him. Suddenly, after all her suffering, the succubus realizes the true identity of the man before her. With a mocking grin, she recalls that the man before her is the virgin mage from the hero team, infuriating the MC. As she finally remembers his name, he admits he was ready to fight her until she did. When the girl questions if he'd strike a fragile woman, the man coldly replies, "You're a succubus, not some delicate flower." Terrified, the girl pleads for him to let it slide, just this once. With a wicked grin, the MC simply refuses. Unfazed, she claims only holy magic can affect her. She's unbeatable without the group's saint. She asks if he has another idea, making him pause. Then he steps forward, determined to try anyway. Stunned, the succubus falls silent as he snaps his fingers and warns her to brace herself for a mana-charged attack. Tears streaming down, the girl realizes he's truly ready to send her to heaven with one strike. Cracks splinter the wall behind them as the girl realizes she has to escape. Just as the protagonist moves to strike, the wall explodes, capturing both their attention. A man bursts through the wall, radiating purple energy, and asks if Leap, the succubus, is okay. Relieved, the girl trusts she's safe. Unaware, the hero now sees his foe is a demon army warrior. Deeper in the bar, the warrior reveals he followed the rescue signal and demands if the mage struck her. Sensing the soldier's commanding presence, the protagonist wonders why someone so powerful would save the girl. Despite the many commanders, such effort for a mere succubus is excessive. Suddenly, the warrior charges straight at the protagonist. The mage swiftly casts spells on his arm to block the demon's attack. He unleashes Double Spell, Reinforce Spell, and Crush. He unleashes his full magic, aiming his arm at the enemy as a swirling blue vortex erupts. The vortex hurls the warrior commander with unstoppable force. The armored enemy slams into the wall before he can react. Unfazed, the mage strides forward with authority, readying his next attack as his opponent falls. The succubus watches in shock, unable to fathom how a mage could overpower a commander. Impressed by his strength, she questions who this boy truly is and what makes him so powerful. Worried, she fears this battle might send her straight to heaven. A sudden idea sparks, she sees a way out. The marble orb, a potent magical artifact, flashes through her mind. She remembers the demon lord confessing he only craves life energy. After decades spent absorbing mana, she finally sees a chance, maybe. With the orb, she can halt her enemy and make her escape. She unleashes a surge of red demonic magic, aiming to bring down the hero. But the marble orb's power overwhelms her, its magic spiraling out of control in her grasp. The orb pulses with overwhelming energy, breaking free from the succubus's grasp. Startled, the protagonist spins around, questioning the demon woman's actions. Within the purple smoke, a woman emerges, transformed and powerful. Blood gushes from the protagonist's heart, triggered by the marble orb's power. The protagonist collapses to his knees, clutching his chest as agonizing pain and draining energy overwhelm him. Coughing up blood, he teeters on the brink of death, barely holding on. Blood pools on the floor as the man coughs it up, his life fading fast. Peering into the black mist, the protagonist instantly knows what it is. He claims it's the very monster he faced 3 years ago on the black battlefield. The fearsome demon lord who cursed his heart, a memory impossible to forget. Too weak to resist, he questions the sudden appearance of mist inside the bar. As the woman approaches and he manipulates the orb, he wonders how a succubus came to possess such power. Seething with rage, the woman's demonic aura terrifies everyone. Ignoring the searing pain in his chest, the boy confidently declares he knows exactly what the black mist is. This mist, unmistakably the demon lord's, is a swirling mass of curses the team once vanquished. But is she truly the woman she appears to be? Far stronger than she looks. The protagonist studies his rival and detects 3 distinct spells. First comes physical transformation, then mental corruption, and finally, the unknown. Clenching his fists and crackling with lightning, he vows, demon lord or not, he won't let him win again. Every spell he has will be unleashed. Realizing her enemy remains fearless and unyielding, fueled by pure hatred, the succubus lunges forward. Arc after arc of crackling lightning unleashed with every spell. Spell complete, he proclaims. A curse for a curse, I will never surrender. Channeling lightning into a swirling vortex above, he roars that these 3 years were not wasted. He surges ahead, unleashing a torrent of lightning to crush his foe. He unleashes the cursed mana spell at full force, targeting the demon woman. The spell's power hurled her entranced followers across the room. Lightning tears apart the city, reducing the bar and streets to rubble. Amid the swirling dust, the protagonist awakens, reborn in a new body. Noticing the demons are gone, he breathes a sigh of relief. He stands, brushes off the dust, and realizes every spell he stored is gone. The mist felt ominous, but this wasn't the hero's first brush with danger. As he checks his face for injuries, he senses something unusual. He discovers a strange new growth on his body, and his hair now cascades down, long like a girl's. His skin is strikingly pale and delicate, almost feminine. Examining his unfinished form, he discovers he's inside a girl's body. Raving in turmoil, she questions what that woman did to his real body. Haunted by his strange body and the looming threat of the demon lord's army, he knows he needs a plan. He closes his eyes, focusing. Now is the time to reclaim the spells lost in battle. Effortlessly conjuring the divine scale before him, just as you will one day. He flawlessly recreates the divine scale before him, as if it belonged there all along. The divine scale immediately asks the girl for her wish, without a pause. She answers, she wants the curse lifted and her stored spell restored. The divine scale demands payment for this extraordinary request. Anticipating this, the girl declares she'll give 90% of her mana. Still, the divine scale protests, declaring the compensation insufficient and warning of restrictions on the request. Accustomed to the divine scale, the girl accepts, aware the request's cost and outcome may change. Unleashing its full power, the scale declares the contract sealed and triggers the spell. In an instant, her wish is granted and her body restored. The girl's stored spells recharge as blue energy surges through her, shattering the runes. Every spell she once held surges back, restoring her to her original, unstoppable power, as if the grueling battle never happened. She extends her fingers, releasing blue energy into the glass. Instantly, a vortex swirls beneath her as shards spiral around her touch. She summons a purple portal outside the building. The nearby citizens stared in shock at the purple circle. They question whether the foul stench is coming from within, and if it's demonic energy. Soldiers race toward the building to investigate. Just moments ago, everything was normal now. They race ahead, questioning what happened to the building. As they surveyed the scene, they discovered a spell, warping their perception. As an aura forms, a soldier whispers, "Esquivel." He's sure this barrier was created by the 4th Sacred Skeleton King. Clutching the small orb, he realizes the succubus queen was a commander, and this orb might be mimicking the demon lord's presence. He slips the orb into his pocket, determined to uncover its secrets. He can't let this mystery go. He glances at his delicate hands and declares this the strangest change of all. If beating him was the goal, changing his gender was the slowest option. Annoyed, his nerves fray, he never wanted to be a woman, he steadies himself and moves on, realizing worry won't solve anything now. Now we must adapt. This change is here to stay. The scene shifts to a mystical shop at night in the present. Seated, the girl confides in her friend, recounting the past few weeks. The man's shop overflows with mystical artifacts, potions, and odd instruments scattered everywhere. As he brews a potion, dropping in leaves, his thoughts linger on the black mist. Annoyed, he snaps, "Quit talking nonsense." But his friend insists, "I'm not lying. Can't you see my body?" The old man smiles, remarking how well the last 5 years have treated his friend, unaware this only fuels his friend's fury. He snaps his fingers, unleashing a surge of white magic. The old man lifts the illusion, revealing his true form, an elf. Purple potion splashes across the counter as the elf confesses he has no idea how to undo the transformation. Still, he insists he can at least halt the curse's corrosion in her body. He carefully pours the potion into a glass vial. After a while, the girl fills several vials with the anti-corrosion potion. Studying the mixture in her hands, she wonders if it will truly work. The sorcerer replies, "It's not a permanent fix, but you'll survive without relying on it." Ever perceptive, the protagonist locks eyes with her friend and declares he's hiding the truth about the curse. But for some reason, he hesitates and admits he can't share everything he knows. As their argument heats up, the elf cuts in, urging the girl to drink the potion monthly. Refusing a free favor, she insists on helping him whenever he needs. He pauses, then admits he wants no payment, only something he needs. Lately, he sensed movement deep beneath the city. Deep in the sewers, a purple wolf radiates curse energy. The elf admits he sent a disciple to investigate, but they failed. The girl gasps, "You really have a disciple?" The scene shifts to the sewers, where a young man radiates a crimson aura. Driven by curiosity, the protagonist presses for more about the boy. The elf amends his words, saying relative is more accurate than disciple, because he alone, who became the young man's magic mentor. He reveals the boy's name, Belno. Beneath the surface, in the city's shadowy tunnels, the boy confronts the demonic wolf. An intense showdown begins. The Black Tower's disciple fighting with fearless resolve. An army of demonic wolves blocks the assassin's path, but he remains fearless, vowing to see Chloe tomorrow as he advances. He sacrifices his fingertip to unleash his magic, determined to end the battle swiftly. He fires a devastating beam of dark energy, obliterating a wolf. Broken finger throbbing, he charges back into battle without hesitation. He unleashes another black blast, piercing a cursed wolf, then swoops down to strike a second from above. He slams it to the ground, effortlessly taking it down as countless wolves fall lifeless into the sewer water. The boy admits he thought his teacher was insane for forcing him into the river of mana until everything changed. As he takes down another wolf with a powerful blast, he admits he never expected it to pay off. Now he casts even stronger spells using less mana than ever before. Exhausted from battle, he finally finds rest. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him from behind. He turns. Deep in the city's sewer, someone approaches, igniting his curiosity. A surge of powerful blue energy radiates as the protagonist emerges from the tunnel. A sea of wolves fills the scene. The boy murmurs that the undead roam the city's sewers, yet someone walks among them boldly, unconcerned about hiding from their enemies. Unleashing greater powers and sacrificing more fingers for strength, the hero surges forward, growing immensely stronger as he confronts the approaching foe. Only the one who unleashed the undead would dare walk through such a hostile place. He unleashes the formidable Needle of Shadows. The boy from the Black Tower hurls his spell at the girl, determined to win. But as the shadow needle streaks toward her, the protagonist stands unfazed. She already knows how to counter it. The assassin unleashes a relentless barrage, manipulating water with such speed that his enemy can't even react. But his attacks are useless. His rival dodges with ease, even faster than the Northern Warrior. Fearing his opponent's power, he breaks his remaining fingers, declaring he'll use everything to win, then unleashes a relentless storm of shadow needles at her. Undaunted, she unleashes acceleration magic. Effortlessly dodging every attack, she leaps high above the shadow blades and charges toward the boy. The boy panics as the woman approaches, realizing he gave everything and it wasn't enough. As her hand nears, he realizes he's powerless. She's far faster than his magic. The printed girl moves in too close. There's no way for the boy to dodge. But in reality, her magic was simply a teasing tap to his forehead. She teases him, leaving him utterly bewildered. At last, she declares the fight over, acknowledging Belle's growth since their last encounter. Yet, as his teacher, she reminds him he still lacks the basics. Lesson 1, never attack a stranger without reason. To his shock, the assistant teacher suddenly appears, catching him off guard in the sewers. Baffled and drowsy, he asks why his mentor's assistant is in the city's underground so late. She replies that the boy's master ordered her to clean up the sewer mess. The boy, even more bewildered, asks if she means old Cardi from the potion shop. With a snap of her fingers, the girl confirms, yes, the elf. As she finishes cleaning the sewers and gets ready to leave, she mentions that she and Cardi have been longtime friends. The wolves' bodies dissolve entirely under the magic. The boy asks the teacher's age. She replies, 21. As they leave the sewers, the girl turns to Emo and asks if he has anything to say. He simply answers, no. Catching the teacher's eye, the boy speaks up with a question. They pause, and the boy immediately asks what the young woman did before joining the academy. He remarks how unusual it is for a teacher to be so exceptionally skilled on the battlefield. With awe, he remarks that her movements are on another level. No bookish student could ever move like this. With a cryptic smile, the girl replies that she's lingered in countless filthy places. Suddenly, more cursed wolves emerge from the shadows, enraged by their fallen pack. Unimpressed, the girl cuts the chatter, declaring it's time to end this game. They reach a weathered door watched by wolves. The girl notes, it looks like her journey ends here. She unleashes 2 potent spells, runes whirling through the room as she readies a devastating attack. The spell engulfs the wolves, their screams echoing as magic utterly disintegrates them. Dodging the spell's force, the boy demands, what kind of magic was that? To him, it looked like the girl fused multiple spells into one devastating attack, a feat he admits he can't even begin to comprehend as a mere student. As the door creaks open, the boy freezes, a foul stench making him question if they should go in. Drawing on her experience, the girl confidently predicts what's inside, knowing she must handle it with care. As she enters, Tomb emerges, marked by a stunning stone at the front. Morning breaks over the city. At the potion shop, the protagonist asks who Belle's meeting. He swiftly replies that he's meeting his childhood friend, Chloe. Startled to learn he had a childhood friend, she asks why he changes his appearance. He explains it's to blend in with humans. The girl wraps up the conversation, saying she has to go take care of a few things. She sets a small altar on the table, revealing that this humble monument unleashed a surge of demonic energy. Hidden beneath the city, guarded by monsters, this mysterious object was made of the same marble the succubus used and cloaked by a perception barrier, explaining why it had gone unnoticed. Stunned, the old man silently gazes at the jewel, lost in thought. The girl adds, it's strange to find something like this hidden in the royal capital's heart, far from prying eyes. She finishes by saying, a major upheaval is about to erupt because of this. At last, she boldly declares that the scent and the demon lord's touch is everywhere. A month has passed since she became an assistant. So much has changed since then. Gradually, she's mastering the art of teaching. At Ayah Academy, her lessons drive her students to new heights every day. In class, she explains that certain spells only work when combined, for instance, demonstrating a unique diagram for an imprisonment spell. With unwavering focus, Lark swiftly records every explanation and rune, determined to become the best. Finishing her explanation, the teacher conjures a magic system with minimal mana and asks if anyone has questions. The students are stunned by how effortlessly she cast the spell because they aren't strong enough yet. Seeing the class's astonished faces, she realizes her students didn't grasp the word, despite the lesson seeming simple to her. She coughs softly, considering how to explain things more clearly next time. She ends the lesson, telling the students to leave the blackboard untouched and spend the day reflecting on what they've learned. As she writes, she admits teaching still feels unfamiliar, but today's class went smoother. She encourages the students to practice the spell themselves before next time, working through any challenges. She says her goodbyes and ends the class. Students huddle by the blackboard, debating the spell's secrets. After class, the girl retreats to her room for a brief rest. She steps out of the classroom, bracing for her master's scolding. She recalls his past complaints about her teaching, but despite many students struggling, she knows some have praised how much they've learned since her classes began. At the end of the hallway, she spots a teacher guiding 2 students through their questions. It clearly breaks down the spell, making it easy for students to grasp. Hearing his explanation, she's amazed at how simply he taught the principle of expulsion. Nervous sweat beads on her brow as she realizes she must work harder to make her explanations clear. Watching the teacher's methods, she wonders why the idea never crossed her mind. As she reflects, she realizes that if students are confused, A will step up to help, just like the purple-haired girl did. Dropping a stack of papers onto the table, a man approaches, asking if she knows what the papers mean. Glancing at them, he reveals their numerous complaints about her classes. She shudders, realizing she must change her teaching. He insists that, despite having just 2 classes, she must read every critique to sharpen her teaching skills. A complaint claims her magical circuit explanations are overly complex and hard to follow. One viewer says the class moves too quickly to keep up. A third complaint highlights students' confusion over last lesson's spell terminology. Annoyed, the bespectacled leader demands to know what the girl actually does in her classes and urges her to see things from a student's perspective. Annoyed, she admits she's just as confused, trying to explain herself. The man, growing impatient, urges her to calm down. With a sarcastic smirk, he remarks, "A teacher who can't teach? That's a real problem." He says she's nothing like the last assistant, Kelt, whose teaching style was far more efficient. Curious, the girl asks who he is, leaving her companion stunned that she doesn't recognize the former assistant. He reveals that Selp once fought alongside Professor Machart in battle. He explains he left the battlefield after severe injuries, yet he still pursues the path of magic mockingly. Unlike some people, he puts himself in his students' shoes and guides them forward. He claims he's a renowned educator at the academy who looks down on the girl. Time passes, and the scene shifts to the cafe. The protagonist enters her favorite cafe to unwind, and the attendant invites her to sit anywhere she likes. At the cafe, Lash studies while students complain the teacher is confusing, so they turn to Cell, whose explanations are much clearer. Uncomfortable in crowds, she questions why this cafe is packed. She spots an empty seat and lights up with excitement. Alert to every sound, she silently hopes the nearby person stays quiet. Lark spills his drink as he greets the girl, catching her off guard. She never expected to see her friend studying at the cafe. To break the tension, the girl checks if his name is Lark. He nods, sipping black water as he studies. The student is left baffled. Does black water mean coffee? He notes that around here, they call it black water, and dealing with it is no easy task. Watching the boy drink, the girl spots his odd expression and wonders why. Glancing at his notes, she notices he's studying an unusual rune. The boy admits he's been stuck on this problem since morning, and adds that some colleagues come here to study and enjoy the famous black coffee. His fingertips stained from studying the rune and smudging the drawing, the attentive girl notices the markings and starts to form an idea. She remembers intently studying, surrounded by stacks of books. Tears stream onto her book, blurring the pages and making study impossible as she breaks down, overwhelmed by the challenge. Seated beside the boy, she wonders. He doesn't understand. Maybe she can help. After a little study and insight, she points out that he's using the same method from the third question and wants him to focus, as she'll only explain once due to his attention issues. While others suggest asking Professor Selt, she stands out by insisting they consult the book whenever in doubt. Across the academy, the girl hears the professor's name again, her irritation growing as she struggles to recall who it is. Sipping her coffee, she realizes one glance at her students reveals just how awful he is at teaching. Tension rises at the mention of the assistant professor's name. Two students politely interrupt her break to ask a question, and he immediately agrees. As the man effortlessly explains the issue, the protagonist wonders if he's the one everyone's been talking about. Burning with jealousy, she turns to see if this man truly lives up to the hype. Set within the academy's training field too. A student trembles in fear before the creature during training. A fearsome beast looms, a boar with yellow eyes and demonic horns. A furious man. Clairpit, the magic combat teacher, ends the training, calls the student pathetic, and orders him out. Huddled in the corner, students question if facing the demonic beast alone was truly necessary. Fuming with authority, the man shouts at his students, claiming the previous assistant professor was a far better teacher. As a beast approaches, one student questions why such creatures are kept within the school walls. The animal looks stranger than ever, radiating a red, cursed energy. Losing control, it leaps high at the student, aiming to take him down in an instant. Frozen in fear, he can only scream, a cry that echoes through all of Aplia Academy. Back at the cafe, the protagonist continues watching the other assistant professor. Seated alone, the teacher studies Selt, curious about his true abilities. Nearby, the man is surrounded by female students, eagerly questioning him about magic and runes. Curious, the girl questions what sets his explanation apart. It's almost exactly what she taught last class. The professor patiently guides each step, unlike the woman's rushed approach. Annoyed, she ponders her next move and draws her coffee in for a sip. But the MC notices a crucial difference. His students are far happier than the Celts. The professor's students grasp the material and advance smoothly, while Rania's students struggle and get stuck. She sees the brown-haired professor's passion and wonders what sets him apart. Grateful and relieved, the students leave with newfound understanding, while the boy waves goodbye with a warm smile, simply enjoying what he loves. As the girl approaches, the man immediately remarks that it's the first time he's truly seen her. He turns to his colleague and asks if she needs help with anything. Intrigued, the girl asks if he knows her. He nods, calling her the Academy's most talked-about student, and invites her to sit. The protagonist fidgets nervously, clearly unsettled by being the center of attention. Ever sweet, Selt notices her struggle and offers a friendly chat if words aren't enough. Blushing, the girl admits. The professor explains things clearly and asks if there's a secret to his teaching. As he stirs his coffee, he chuckles, honored by the praise, but admits it's no trick. His students are simply just starting out. Being young means endless choices, and even when they pick a path, doubt often makes them hesitate midway. He teaches them just as his master once taught him, with care and affection. Remembering the old man's lessons, the girl finally knows what she must do. Staring out the cafe window, the girl admits, it's a difficult topic, but ever warm and understanding, the brown-haired man nods. He shares that he studied pedagogy and offers to recommend books to deepen her understanding. He invites her to the lab, if she's available after their talk. Intrigued, the girl mentions she's free today and agrees to join. They head out together, and the boy offers to show her the school's lab. The sun sets as time slips by. As he strolls through campus, the professor leans in and asks a personal question about the young woman. His friend agrees, so he asks when she met Professor Roselle. Before he can finish, a voice shouts his name. The conversation halts as they turn to see the combat professor demanding an explanation. The combat professor, furious, storms towards CELT. The protagonist recalls that the boy with glasses mentioned this professor's name earlier. The boy insists he was only talking to the teacher, but Mashart snaps, calling it a waste of time. Frustrated as ever, he hurls his papers and shouts that another wild demon is rampaging through the classroom, battling the students. Selt, losing his humor, remarks that if the professor can't do his job, he belongs back on the battlefield. He storms out, declaring, "This is the final warning," and ordering an investigation with a report due by E. Concerned, she turns to her colleague and asks, "Are you okay?" Selt shifts uneasily but assures his friend, "This is completely normal." Gathering the papers, he reveals that the combat professor uses real battles and even creates demons in the lab to teach the students. As he gathers the papers, he admits the beast research has stalled lately. The girl admits practical experience matters, but questions if creating cursed beasts is truly necessary. The man adds, "In the end, it's all for research." He trails off, leaving the girl curious, then brushes it off with a simple, "It's nothing." He jokes that carrying them is tough, but she proudly boasts about her strength as they chat and stroll through the school halls. Night falls over the Academy's forest training field. A fierce battle rages on. Red energy blasts streak through the air. Someone's training their man, pushing against the trees to grow stronger. Bell, exhausted and uneasy, grumbles that he can't shake thoughts of the suspicious altar from his last mission. He senses an eerie aura surrounding it, but the assistant professor stayed silent. Lost in thought, he's startled as Lark appears, surprised to find someone here. Lark asks if his friend also trains in this forest, just like he does. Noticing the battered trees, he remarks that the boy's aim has sharpened, curious about his new training regimen. The two walk on as the warrior questions Bell about an outside mentor, and Bell fires back. An army of demonic beasts lurks in the trees, watching the two boys. While walking, their conversation drifts until Lark suddenly proposes a friendly competition, proposing they make this training a competition. The assassin chuckles, remarking how strange it is for monstrous demons to show up in Aplaya. His friend quickly counters, insisting this could never happen within the Academy's walls. As the beastly dogs close in, they question how to tally the competition points. The animals bolt, unleashing cursed energy in their wake. Furious and ready to fight, the two brace themselves as the challenge begins. Spotting the unstoppable animals, they shout in unison and charge forward. Inside the Academy dorms, one house has a massive hole. A voice grumbles inside the room, annoyed by the roaring wind outside. An Academy student complains that the wind makes sleep impossible. A sudden explosion blasts a stone through the ceiling. Rising with curiosity, a student questions the strange moving object before him. A demon appeared, something unthinkable, given the Academy's protective barrier. They soon discover the combat professor uses these savage demons in his class, raising even more suspicion. An army of dogs charges, sending the students fleeing for their lives. Dogs keep appearing, leaving the students to wonder if they're multiplying by the second. Suddenly, a pack charges at one boy. He can only surrender, helpless to defend himself. Slime suddenly floods the room, spreading across the floor. Suddenly, the boy stirs alive and bewildered, questioning why he feels no pain. A student arrives, announcing the evacuation to the third dormitory as her summon mercilessly takes down a wolf. Lestia appears amid summoned lions and birds, declaring her classmates stood in her way. The doorman relents. The boy thanks her for saving him. She answers, "I just did what had to be done." Without hesitation, the girl unleashes green magic, summoning a pride of lions and charging straight at the enemy. Facing a horde of dogs, she's confident her summoned beasts can take them down. Focused and determined, she commands her summons to fight while she takes on another task. Violence erupts as the battle begins. As the two animal races clash without end. As she runs, the girl urges her fairy to reveal the source of the presence she must defeat. She closes her eyes, senses the presence in the forest beyond the dormitory, and together they head out, determined to find its source. A colossal stone golem, eyes blazing with pink energy, crashes through the building near the first dormitory. Its thunderous footsteps reverberate through the forest, reaching the Academy itself. Exhausted animals lie defeated after the fierce battle. The two friends, locked in competition to defeat the most enemies, face an endless horde when the emo boy, grinning, teases his friend, "Already tired?" Still battling more foes, the other snaps back, he's nowhere near exhausted. Staring up at the great mountain, Bell declares, "I'm just getting started." His friend grins, "Let's turn up the heat." Sensing their presence, the great titan advances. Driven by primal instinct, the golem barrels through the forest, shattering trees in its wake. As the monster charges forward, the assassin readies for battle. The northern warrior also strategizes his enemy's defeat. The two unleash tower-specific magic. They launch themselves forward, blue and red mana crackling as they charge the stone titan. Bell strikes first, unleashing Red Shadow Neil and bombarding the enemy with magic to wear it down. His strike lands on the monster's shoulder, but it barely flinches, only a trickle of green fluid escapes. The northern warrior leaps, axe poised for a devastating strike. Channeling weight magic, he vaults over the titan, charging his weapon for a crushing strike, then hurls an axe that tears deeper into the titan's form. The forceful strike severs the already weakened arm, devastating the Titan. The enraged enemy roars in pain, spraying green fluid but refuses to surrender. As the giant advances, the Black Tower disciple declares this should have ended the battle. Surprised, he realizes their attacks should have stopped the monster, but it's still moving. Stunned, he discovers the monster's true, overwhelming power. To their shock, the Titan's severed arm begins to magically regenerate, leaving them scrambling to understand and stop it. A voice from the forest declares the answer obvious, startling the white-haired boy. A girl appears and challenges. Did you really think you could win without knowing your enemy's weakness? They freeze, shocked by her abrupt arrival on the battlefield. Suspicious, the emote asks if she's here to help, and the girl replies she couldn't just watch the academy fall into chaos. Selfishly, Bell admits he could have, as a disciple of the Black Tower. The girl cuts in, insisting it doesn't matter now. To defeat the Titan, unlike other monsters, you must target its magical core, the force that holds its form together. Strike the core, that's the only way to destroy it for good. The little fairy is baffled by the golem's bizarre form. Something strange is unfolding at the academy. The barriers should have kept creatures like this out, which means the monsters didn't break in, they appeared inside the school. Uneasy, the girl warns everyone to stay alert, she has a bad feeling about this. Lark asks if destroying the core is the plan, and the girl confirms, it's the simplest way. Magic surges as the three brace for the fierce battle, determined to shield their classmates. The two boys dashed to the front lines, leaving their friend behind for support. Both lunge ahead, unleashing their unique techniques as the girl starts casting her spells. The Northern Warrior, trained by the White Tower, casts 2 spells on himself. He studies his enemy's moves, then strikes with deadly force. Unleashes a devastating blow, causing the golem to spill green fluid across the forest as it takes massive damage. Sticking to the plan, Bell charges in before the monster can heal. He unleashes his black blood magic, casting the Prison of Shadows to engulf and restrain the golem. The girl delivers the final strike, summoning fierce lightning fairies. She boosts their power with multiple spells but soon sweats from the overwhelming drain on her mana. Bell snaps, "Hurry up!" She declares she's ready and summons the mightiest lightning fairy. Summoned without hesitation, Sylve, the legendary thunder fairy, appears. Syl unleashes an ancient thunder spell, summoning lightning to engulf the entire area. Glowing runes ignite the sky as she summons a furious storm, lightning rains down, striking the Titan's core with unstoppable force. At the academy, shattered windows hint at chaos while someone complains about endless work, none of it helped by Professor McTracken. Dust coats the school floor as someone sweeps, fighting to restore order. The students revive the school's spirit, as one admits they saw this coming the day they chose to battle beasts. Balancing boxes on his shoulder, Lark calls out, "Need a hand moving anything down here?" The students thank him, relieved they no longer have to battle demonic beasts. They say forcing students to battle cursed beasts, even as training, is going too far. Rumor has it the combat professor cruelly mocks any student he dislikes. They question how he could be such a terrible teacher, blaming his carelessness with the beasts for the disaster. Rumor has it that Assistant Professor Selt could control the animals, yet the blame still lands on him. He stands before the academy directors as the gavel pounds throughout his interrogation. The director quietly commands everyone to fall in line. He asks the professor if he had any response to the accusations, leaving him visibly uneasy. All demon research and achievements, and every beast within the academy fell under the professor's control. Every clue screams he's guilty. Agitated, the man reveals the demonic beasts were bred for combat training and student experiments. He insists he's a warrior who defends the people, and that accusing him of unleashing beasts is unjust. The students point out that he's dodging the question. The man warns there's only so much insult he can bear. The princess's bodyguard recalls the professor's fierce temper, yet stands firm in his warrior's pride. Not even the Grey Tower's master could shatter the academy's barrier-damming proof against the professor. Beasts emerged from within the school, their presence masked by a perception spell. All evidence suggests an infiltrator is inside the academy. Shouting in anger won't convince the tribunal of his innocence. The director's irritation grows as he watches the accused's feeble defense, until the accused's assistant bursts in, demanding he sit, calm down, and wait for the director's cue. The soldiers recognize the boy and let him pass. Grateful and relieved after his rough treatment, he thanks them. Selt steps forward, ready to address the tribunal and strengthen the case. Once again, the trainer shouts that his assistant's lousy manager is to blame. Impatiently, the director pressed the assistant for his opinion to wrap up the trial. The assistant warns that the incident nearly brought disaster to the academy. Thanks to the students' efforts, the beasts fell. That's clear proof the classes work. He calls it an unprecedented accident, yet proof the students seized the chance to show their skills. He concludes, taking full responsibility for failing to manage the animals. After hearing the boy's statements, the director interrupts, acknowledges his point, and starts to reflect. Breeding demonic beasts is strictly banned at school. Other methods should have been used. This reckless attempt left many unprepared students injured. While he admits the man's point isn't wrong, he insists there's an important caveat. Blaming the professor's assistant alone for the accident is unfair. To prevent further harm, Selt must choose his words carefully. In summary, the director orders the combat professor detained until the case is resolved. The tribunal's verdict ignites his fury, nerves fraying as hatred consumes him. He erupts at the director, demanding how he dares insult him, as others struggle to hold him back. He breaks free, shouting that he's a kingdom warrior and won't be treated this way. The story shifts, revealing a radiant constellation. A mysterious voice urges the blonde princess to chase after something vital, echoing through a cosmic, otherworldly realm. As she slept, a voice urged her to seek something vital. She jolts awake, bewildered by her mysterious dream. As sunlight floods the castle window, she tidies her closet for school, realizing this revelation feels unlike any before. For the first time, the stars speak to her, revealing a message meant just for her. Confused, she stares into the mirror, desperate to understand their mysterious call. As the girl ponders the quest's meaning, the princess's butler enters, greeting her and offering to escort her to school. He recounts the professor's tribunal, revealing he was held in temporary detention. His classes will be led by Selt. As she walks through the house, she wonders if others were drawn into the investigation. For now, the brown-haired boy reveals, the combat professor is their sole suspect. The princess pauses, claiming to understand, yet a lingering doubt remains. She halts mid-stride, spinning around and startling her butler. She stands before the door, admitting she doesn't fully grasp the star's message, yet somehow it let her hear. The girl knocks and calls out to Assistant Professor Rananiel, asking to talk. The blonde enters and requests a private conversation with the professor. But the moment she steps inside, she's met with chaos papers strewn everywhere, leaving her utterly bewildered. The professor politely invites them to walk wherever they like. She focused on the board, preparing her next class, and asked her student to see if they understood anything. She reveals her attempt to simplify things, gesturing to a board covered in ancient writings and magical runes. Both are left speechless, embarrassed by their total confusion. One of them coughs, drawing the girl's attention. He admits he can instinctively grasp magical circuits, but doubts he'll be much help. With a gentle smile, the professor notes that the MC's heart has shifted since the open class, leaving her uncertain. Since the last class, she's been searching for books and preparing for upcoming lessons. Realizing her student's point, the professor explains the books aren't hers. Every book and paper on the table belonged to Professor Selt. He'd lent them all to her. The moment her words end, a sharp pain pierces the princess's head, like glass shattering inside her skull. Morning dawns at Apliya Academy, and excitement fills the air. The assistant steps in, announcing he'll temporarily take over the combat professor's classes. He announces that practical beast classes are now replaced with basic combat theory, but the northern warriors and the purple-haired boy remain unfazed by the news. The emo student sighs in boredom, dreading an hour of theory instead of hands-on practice. The assistant starts the class, outlining magical combat basics and jotting key theories on the board. Rumors swirl in the halls, the beast laboratory is closed, and Selt is taking over. The three students huddle together when a girl breaks the silence. Is something bothering you? Lark replies that the stench of battle still lingers. The girl is left puzzled by the scent he mentions. Rephrased sentence, the girl pauses, then asks if he means it's still unresolved. His friend agrees, and Belle admits he's faced his own troubles, each one linked to the cursed beasts. Insightful. She realizes that even a professor couldn't control so many demons at once. Someone else must be behind this. She stresses it's only a hunch, with no solid proof yet. Suddenly, the blonde girl admits she shares their suspicion and joins the group to help investigate. Startling the purple-haired girl, the blonde declares, "We're nowhere near a solution yet." Night falls at Apliya Academy as the four students press the princess, questioning her suspicions. She replies, trusting her intuition, always sharp, always wary. Before he interrupts to make an important point. As they step into the assistant professor's room, she warns it might be a mistake, but the blonde praises Lark's sharp instincts, hinting there could be something hidden inside. Lessie, trembling with doubt, insists she believes the princess but admits she's afraid. Calmly, the princess traces a constellation, declaring the stars have led them here through prophecy. The four gather at the door, determined to uncover the school's secrets. As the northern warrior turns the doorknob, he notes the stench intensifies. Opening the door, he declares that stepping inside will reveal the truth and solve everything. They step inside and spot cages. The demons have been imprisoned. They realize the creatures are tamed by control magic. Fearful, one urges them to leave. The princess vows to take the blame if things go wrong and urges them to investigate thoroughly. Scanning the room, the brightest yet most distracted boy declares, "Nothing seems suspicious to me. Harris believes something here holds the key to the truth. Even if the assistant professor isn't the real culprit, nothing in that lab could burn a body." Someone bursts in, startling everyone, most of all the princess, who whirls around in fear. The protagonist and her friend enter the room, spotting four students investigating, as the professor demands to know why they're there so late. Night falls. He wonders why his students are here. Their behavior alone raises suspicion. The northern hare steps forward, catching the professor's eye. He reaches out. He tells the man, "There are a few things we need to clarify in this case." Scanning the bookshelf, he confesses his lingering questions, then boldly asks the professor if he unleashed the demonic dogs, catching him completely off guard. Suddenly, the irritated assassin demands his friend explain the accusation. He replies that he has no proof, just a gut feeling that this is exactly what happened. He notes that the assistant professor's guilt mirrors the girl's, making them careful not to upset him further in this tense moment. The girl asks why she's there so late, and the professor replies she was just returning borrowed books. Someone cuts in, urging everyone to check the time and suggesting they head to bed since it's already late. To defuse the tension, they propose picking up the conversation later. The blonde cuts in, insisting, "This isn't nearly enough." She abruptly announces the star's side with Lark and, representing her family, vows to investigate his suspicions about the assistant teacher, leaving the protagonist on edge. In the background, the teacher clenches his fists in irritation. The northern boy stands out at school, and he stays on guard, eyeing the teacher's clenched fists, ready for any sudden move. Prepared for danger, he draws his hidden axe, ready to defend himself if violence erupts. The teacher grows uneasy, admitting, without a doubt, he is, but trails off, leaving his words unfinished. Cold sweat drips down as he confesses. He was the one who unleashed the demonic beasts. The two fighters are stunned as the teacher reveals he orchestrated the entire incident. The heiress, curious, demands to know why he committed such a terrible act in this peaceful land. Nervous and remorseful, he insists he can explain everything. He reveals the combat instructor's secret plan to create an intelligent cursed beast for their own use. Her eyes widen in shock, questioning his true intentions. He explains that the man had reached his limit controlling beasts, yet an obsession drove him relentlessly deeper into his research. Driven by ambition, he created countless animals as test subjects, until disaster struck the academy. Most students were unprepared for the beasts and suffered serious injuries. He admits he stayed silent in court to protect the instructor. Haunted by guilt, he confesses he believed he could wipe out the beasts alone. Breaking down, he blames himself for everything. Had he tried harder, he might have stopped the instructor's terrible act. Now, he breaks down in tears as the students and the protagonist watch in silent reflection. Lash calmly assures the teacher she understands everything, while Belle, ever direct, asks what their next move should be. A voice in the background urges, "Tell the director everything, let him decide." As she speaks, stardust slips through her fingers. The star's warnings grow louder, and she wonders why hadn't the teacher revealed it all. Suddenly, the cosmic dust halts in her hands, leaving her stunned. Suddenly, someone in the room unleashes their punishment magic. The teacher is hurled aside, shocking the room with the plot's sheer brutality. With a sneer, someone scoffs, "You could have just made an excuse. No need for that ridiculous story." Tense and agitated, they declare the teacher deserved a punch and ask if they should call him out for who he truly is. She openly calls him two-faced before everyone, leaving the two boys stunned as the man remains standing, seething with hatred. Fooled by the assistant's lie, they question the girl's actions and check if the man survived the crash. He laughs wickedly, his twisted scheme already taking shape. As he rises, everyone is stunned as the teacher suddenly bursts into laughter. Chuckling, red magic swirling around him, he admits their friend is even more intimidating than he expected and laughs again. He unleashes his magic, freeing the animals to attack the students. A pack of dogs storms in, capturing everyone's attention and igniting chaos in the room. With a wicked laugh, he warns them to deal with the dogs, or face something far worse. With his red magic, he can soothe animals into docile pets, or unleash their fiercest aggression. He admits it's a slight change from the plan, but insists it'll work, much to the teacher's annoyance. With confidence, he unveils his plan, unleashing enough beasts to obliterate this cursed academy forever. Unfazed, the protagonist challenges him. Does he truly believe they'll let it happen without a fight? She steps forward, instantly capturing the girl's attention with a clear plan in mind. She contacts the assassin, already channeling his blood magic for the looming fight. A white-haired boy readies his sharp axe for battle. Steeling herself for battle, she orders her students to pursue the animals while she handles another threat. He says he's heard all about the teacher's power, but he's not afraid. His eyes glint with malice as he readies a fire spell, claiming he now understands her arrogance. He casts a powerful spell, claiming to understand her confidence. But with a mere slap, she effortlessly swats it to the ground without moving an inch. She wipes sweat from her brow and demands, "Who are you to call me arrogant?" The teacher unleashes his multi-ignition spell without pause, hurling fireballs and admiring his rival's boldness. As they clash, the girl reveals he pulled all this off while teaching with an innocent smile. With a laugh, he asks if she truly believes the combat professor is his master. He unleashes a fierce fire blast, declaring he has only one mentor. Startled, the girl slices through the fire with her bare hand, unleashing her magic as she demands, "Do you mean the man with the foul demonic energy?" She questions if he really calls that man his master, then reveals the small stone from the altar confessing will be harder than she thought. The school villain is stunned. How did she get that stone? Shattering the stone, she accuses the man of complicating everything and demands to know why he sides with demons. Furious at the sight of the ruined altar, the man shouts that it was his master's relic. His fists tighten, crackling with purple energy. Eyes wild, he floods the room with power and demands, "Do you even know how valuable that was? How dare you break it?" Purple runes ignite all around, charging a devastating attack that could obliterate any novice. He unleashes his dark magic, black needles. A barrage of needles erupts from the purple runes with blinding speed and force. Black needles dart through the room, lightning frozen mid-strike. To everyone's shock, they strike the protagonist, triggering a burst of sparks. As needles pierce her, he jeers, calling her a fool blind to the worth of what she ruined. His hatred warps the room, walls trembling with every shout. His energy surges so fiercely that the room crumbles under the magical force. Spotting the girl collapsed on the floor, he bursts into laughter, convinced he has... With a wicked grin, he reveals this was the power he craved all along. His sinister purple energy surges as he declares he's glad he trusted the man who became his master. Distracted, he glances at his hands and declares he could crush the combat professor single-handedly. His energy surges, flooding the room with a swirling purple mist. In his madness, he boasts that this power lets him do anything. An empty vial clatters to the floor as he insists he just needs faith and his master's guidance. Bored, the girl yawns as she stands and mutters an apology for her, but the man stands unfazed, watching as the girl nonchalantly cleans herself, admitting he nearly respects her for surviving what McCain had planned. With a mocking laugh, he taunts her for bringing a healing potion to battle. Calmly, she corrects him. It's just a nutritional tonic she drinks every month. She admits she'd forgotten to drink it earlier, and since he was already talking to himself, figured now was the perfect time. Unfazed by her words, the man summons runes across the ceiling, insisting it's far too early for her to relax. Spell complete, he declares she will never escape. Are alive and hope she finds peace in heaven. His eyes glowing purple with confidence, he unleashes dark impact. Black tentacles flood the room, lunging at the protagonist, but she simply smiles, unfazed, treating the threat as a joke after facing far greater foes. The attack vanishes mid-air, crumbling instantly to dust. Stunned, the traitor questions how his unbeatable attack failed, as the girl activates her magic and laughs, declaring that he just exposed his link to the altar, revealing who his accomplice is. Blue dust drifts from the room. Magic surging through her, she accepts the challenge, vowing to defeat her rival. Nervous and sweating, he demanded, "How did you do this?" Watching his magic shatter, he demands to know how she broke it so easily. She laughs, mocking that even a child could destroy such a feeble spell, then lunges forward as blue runes ignite in her hand. Empowered by the spell, she unleashes it as punishment. Fueled by magic, she charges at her rival and lands a devastating punch to his chest, making him cough up blood from the sheer force. The powerful blow launches him like a rag doll, sending him crashing to his knees, clutching his gut. She leaves him powerless, untouched herself, and mocks him, claiming she was holding back and daring her rival to get up and quit scheming. Summoning his final strength, he unleashes a surge of purple magic from his hand, refusing to surrender. Purple runes flare to life on the girl's back, flooding the room with radiant light. He unleashes his black needle's magic. Runes crackle with energy, surging with unstoppable power. He unleashes powerful summoning magic. Hundreds of needles erupt from the ruins in a surprise assault, but before they even reach his rival, the attack disintegrates into the air without him so much as glancing back. Struggling to stand, the man weakly asks how many spells she holds as she shreds his like paper. Defeated, Mac triggers more purple runes, convinced they'll finally be enough. With a confident laugh, he asks the girl for her thoughts as runes glow behind him. He activates 2 more reinforcement spells and Dark Impact, channeling the runes to unleash an even stronger blast from his hand. A black trail streaks toward his rival as a powerful blast engulfs the room, swirling in a vortex around the main laser. Eyes wild, the man screams for the girl to ascend to heaven, pouring all his magic into the attack. A blazing trail of purple fire erupts from where the protagonist stood, igniting a massive explosion. Spotting the record, she finally lets her guard down. He's defeated his rival, remarking that in the end, all she did was talk. She suddenly appears behind him, mocking, "I could say the same about you." She charges at full speed, her energy surging as she catches him off guard. She unleashes a powerful spell, surging her magic for devastating impact, then drives her enemy back with a swift, forceful strike, overwhelming him with boosted power. Her hand brushes her enemy's face, crackling with purple energy as smash magic ignites. Then, at blinding speed, she slams the teacher's head into the wall. With his smash ability, the impact unleashes massive damage, leaving him drained. She insists traitors deserve this. Suffering is their due. Furious at her former friend, she shouts that he's betrayed all morals and ethics. He slams his head harder against the wall as she accuses him of bragging about his power. The battle leaves the room in ruins, paintings scattered, tables overturned. She stands over his fallen body and declares, "Even a girl like me can crush your skull." She wipes her hand on her clothes and declares, "He's not weak because he's human, he's just weak." Time passes at school, and suddenly, voices shout for everyone to hurry. The butler and soldiers race through the corridors, searching for the princess and aiding the students. The girl appears before the soldiers and declares, "There's still compassion left in this academy." The butler apologizes, revealing an unusual surge of beastly demons on campus. Seeing Professor Selt held by the head, he's left questioning what just happened. His blood runs black, a damning sign he sold his soul to demons and betrayed the entire school. She says no one would have noticed if he hadn't unleashed his demonic energy in battle. Once he did, she had no choice but to take him down. She warns that the traitor will soon wake, urging them to interrogate him the moment he opens his eyes. The butler, curious, asks if he's alive, and the girl confirms he's just unconscious. Hurling his defeated body to the ground, she jokes he's alive and unharmed. She stands as the soldiers bow before her, thanking her for teaming up and battling the villain. As she departs, the girl says she has urgent business to attend to, but wishes the soldiers luck. Time passes, and the protagonist enters the forest near the school. Exhausted from battle, the blonde girl remarks that this appears to be the final cursed beast. Clutching the beast's carcass, Lark congratulates his friends, declaring it's finally over. Noticing his friend's exhaustion, he urges her to go rest, but she refuses, still concerned about the professor's assistant. She battles the wicked traitor alone, fearing for her friend's life. The enemy is formidable. The northern warrior and the princess burst into laughter, irritating Lesty, who demands, "What are those ridiculous faces supposed to mean?" Chuckling, Harris insists there's no need to worry about the professor's assistant. The white-haired boy nods in agreement. He notes that the assistant instinctively sensed something was wrong and acted immediately. Confident in her, he says she's likely already pursuing the real culprit right now. Exhausted, the protagonist admits it was tough and wonders if it's wiser to leave while they still can. Her mentor suddenly appears, startling her with a sharp, "What did you just say?" She brushes it off, claiming it's nothing, just stubborn dirt on her clothes that's driving her crazy. Sirius, ever the mentor, warns her not to use water magic on the royal family's gifted clothes. As she cleans, he casually asks how she got so dirty, then quickly loses interest. She scrubs her clothes, briefly worrying about her student's safety, then pushes the thought aside. Scrubbing harder, she reassures herself, if she keeps teaching them, it will all work out. But pressing too hard, she rips the clothes in two. Furious, the mentor reminds her that he warned her to be careful. Someone lurks inside the school, shocked that the teaching assistant could be a deadly traitor. A girl asks, "Are you saying he framed the combat professor?" The others nod, certain. Two adults exchange tense words, stunned that a traitor could be at the school. It's intolerable, and action must be taken. The scene moves to the professor's office, where he's found no peace since it all began. Students arrive to announce the 5th dormitory is finally repaired. The traitor woke up that morning, and an interrogation is set for the afternoon. Professor Harville leads the interrogation, putting the old professor at ease as he asks about the classes. One boy announces that combat and elemental magic classes are back in session. They've resumed classes, but without the beasts. Now it's all theory and none of the danger. They'd add that, right now, the teaching assistant, Rana, is leading the class. They offered to cancel classes after the exhausting incident, but Rainey insisted it wasn't enough to stop her from teaching. The girl conjures runes mid-air, demonstrating attack magic to her students. She insists direct practice is the key. She concludes by revealing 3 essential battle spells. The students are finally satisfied as the teacher breaks down concepts for everyone to understand. A rune appears overhead. Rania turns to a student. "What spell is that?" Nervously, the boy replies, "It's an advanced attack spell designed for a single target." Correct. This spell is a staple in magic circuits. She reveals that most sorcerers recite spells without understanding their origins, then demonstrates how this circuit is effortless and part of everyday life. Summoning runes around the divine scale, she declares that true mastery lies not in memorizing spells, but in understanding their deeper meaning. At last, every student listens intently, soaking up knowledge as the lesson flows seamlessly. Exhausted, the girl admits teaching is driving her crazy. She stifles a cough, focusing intently to keep the class undisturbed. She suggests using yesterday's incident as a perfect learning example. Rania reveals the academy recently hit some trouble, but the students swiftly saved the day. Her students and friends hang on her every word. She stresses that mastering the magic circuit is key to using it properly. She says that staying flexible and discerning is key to tackling tough problems. Muttering softly, she reassures herself. There's nothing to worry about. Everything is fine. Bursting with excitement, she announces to the class, "All you have to do is try." Each student reacts differently, but all listen intently. The purple-haired girl blushes with happiness at the remark. As Rania walks the corridors, she hums, admitting the last lesson wasn't as dreadful as she'd feared, but this life is far from relaxing. Actually, she's constantly caught up in battles and bizarre events. Relieved she's still employed, she suddenly spots suspicious figures roaming the school grounds. Swords marked with a strange symbol and matching red flags seize her attention. Dozens appear, their clothes and weapons marked with symbols the girl instantly recognizes. Watching them walk away, Rania quietly wonders what's going on. She suddenly remembers, the emblem belongs to the royal hunting dogs. A storm of thoughts floods her mind as she struggles to grasp what's happening inside the school. Fed up with fixing everything, she shrugs it off, telling herself it's not her problem, and heads to the school cafe. Tension mounts as the scene moves to the academy's underground prison, where there Harville and a soldier arrive to interrogate the captured traitor's teacher. Locked in his cell, the man awaits interrogation. Bound to a wooden chair behind bars, the soldier commands him to wake up. The traitor is drained, eyes rolled white, too weary to utter a word. Seized by frenzy, he thrashes in his chair, shrieking that the prophet will punish them. His reddened, purple eyes wild, he chants the prophet's warning over and over while, unseen in the shadows, someone pulls his strings, forcing him to speak. Sensing trouble, the royal butler swiftly orders the guard to stand down. He's stunned to discover Selt is far more shattered than he imagined. Seeing the traitor drool and lose control, he realizes the man is under powerful mind control. Alarmed, the guard asks if the man is still alive. Harville nods and orders him taken to the church. As he strides through the prison corridors, sword in hand, the butler ponders the prophet's identity, armed with only 2 clues. He suspects the prophet hides within the academy, someone powerful, forging pacts with demons. Despite knowing his true power, Harville admits he can't face him alone. Without warning, the butler is left utterly speechless. Startled, he spots men emerging ahead far sooner than he anticipated. He spots a masked man encircled by red-clad soldiers. His name is Lord Colt, a formidable force in the kingdom. 7 years ago at Chaldea Palace, the princess and Harville make a desperate escape from vicious beasts. Tears streaming, the girl pleads with her friend. Why would Garrick betray them? As they race on without pause, the butler urges the princess not to look back, even as the wolves draw near. Distraught, the man declares that Garrick is no longer the person they knew. He's become nothing but a filthy traitor. Once an imperial court warrior, the man now flees in fear with his companion. The bald man declares, chillingly, that he wants only the girl. Transformed, he claims the prophet offered him an immortal army for the girl. The butler steps before the princess, urging her to ignore his words. She pleads with her to run for her life. Tears streaming, the girl sprints desperately from the battlefield. She races ahead, shouting for help. Desperate for someone to hear, she sprints through the palace corridors, when suddenly, a massive explosion erupts. An explosion erupts behind her, hurling debris in all directions. Tears streaming, she turns, terrified her next moment could be her last. A figure strides in, remarking on the heavy smoke and checking if the princess is safe. The young protagonist declares he's here to save her. Back in the present, the girl dreams of Lord Rananiel, her past savior. She recalls the moment a mysterious man appeared and felled the traitor with one strike. The enemy fell, and the mysterious savior disappeared. Just like that, she lies in bed, clutching her pillow, lost in that memory. Gazing through the window, she wonders where Lord Rananiel is and what he's doing right now. At the cafe, the protagonist erupts into a fit of coughing, causing a scene. She freezes, certain she just heard the princess's voice in her mind. Panic rising as she remembers she must confess to tearing the princess's gift while doing laundry yesterday. Torn between fear and duty, she battles the urge to confess, knowing it's the right thing to do. The sun sets over the school grounds. The warrior strides beside the butler, who wonders why they don't just question someone outright. Serious and inquisitive, Culp replies that something more urgent is at hand. He said, determined to uncover the truth. Surveying the school grounds, Culp spots lingering traces of demonic energy. His companion, startled, asks if he's certain. With expert precision, Culp notes the faint energy hard to sense without years of experience, but unmistakably present. Students fill the school's corridors and streets, making their way to class. Left alone, the butler silently admits he feels nothing, yet trusts his lord's instincts. Once known as the Tracker, Culp was the kingdom's top warrior, able to find any target in seconds and a former ally to the heroes on the battlefield. If his friend senses demonic energy, you can bet it's real. The butler mourns what could have been. If soldiers had been at the palace 7 years ago, as they walk, the soldier suddenly pauses, asking them to wait. He spins around, eyes locked on his target. The trail of demonic energy points straight to the protagonist. Sparking their curiosity, Culp unsheaths his sword, ready for a fierce battle. He charges forward, building speed for his attack. Lost in thought, the girl snaps to attention at the sudden sound of the man's footsteps. He lunges forward, shouting that he's found the filthy traitor, determined to take them down in one decisive blow. The warrior's strike shatters the ground, hurling debris in every direction. The nearby students stare in shock, bewildered by the scene. The soldier vanished in a blur, leaving the butler searching in confusion. Anxious, he wonders if Culp's real target was Rania, the professor's assistant. The protagonist rises, undeterred, ready to strike back. Her mind racing with fear and curiosity about the mysterious man who rattled her so deeply. Startled mid-battle, she demands to know why he struck without warning. Their clash fierce and evenly matched. From afar, Ravel stares in disbelief, certain it can't be real. Hunting dogs are elite fighters, trained specifically to hunt and battle mages. The battle rages on, revealing that even the strongest mages are powerless against these royal soldiers. Despite appearances, the protagonist skillfully holds her ground, emerging unscathed from the fight. The seasoned warrior sees the girl holding back, relying solely on potent magic instead of real weapons. As the relentless battle rages on, Kalt marvels at her overwhelming force, until, mid-fight, the warrior's sword is sent spiraling high into the air. He's left defenseless against the powerful blows. Kalt clenches his fists and growls, "This can't be happening." He knows it's only a theory, yet it's coming true. Calm as ever, the girl scoffs that her opponent is too distracted to fight. Cold sweat drips down Kalt as he realizes his opponent's every move is deceptively simple and dangerously efficient. Realizing defeat, he raises his hands and surrenders, diffusing the tension. She laughs brightly and sweetly asks, "Who are you?" The man approaches, remarking that he'd been looking for his friend, clearly recognizing her. With a teasing grin, he asks why she looks that way. The MC is caught off guard and left uneasy by the unexpected recognition. 5 years ago, in a desolate world. Before her transformation, the protagonist races alongside a friend, questioning if they're on the right path. Sprinting ahead, the man declares his hunch is certain. Doubting his friend, the MC questions his instincts but keeps quiet. Surveying the skull-strewn desert, the hero declares, "This isn't the place." Suddenly, a colossal, multi-humped beast erupts from the sand, unleashing a torrent of debris across the landscape. Spotting their quarry at last, the warrior mocks, "This is exactly what I've been saying." He unsheaths his sword, chanting aloud. He's the right-hand man to apprentice Rananiel Kalt, destined to become a formidable warrior. As the battle erupts, the protagonist unleashes power runes across the arena, charging up to strike down the monster. Lightning crackles from his hand as he vows to end this fast and get home early. Charging forward, he faces a massive, multi-headed larva, each mouth swirling with razor-sharp teeth. Their battle rages on until day fades into night and the sun sets. Shattered remains of the creature litter the ground as the two express their longing to leave the battlefield behind. As they rest after the battle, Kalt asks his friend if he plans to inherit the Grey Tower after retiring. He quickly refuses, saying he'd rather not inherit it. Those old men are just too annoying. He mentions he might become a teacher someday, prompting his friend to joke that he pities those future students, sparking a playful argument as Rananiel takes offense and fires back. Struck in the head, the boy breaks down, pleading desperately for mercy. Broth streaming from his eyes, the warrior screams for his friend to run. An undead commander leads a terrifying skeleton army, striking fear into all who see them. Amid a brutal battle, the MC's eyes show fear, but they refuse to retreat. As his friend charges ahead, shattering skeletons, the protagonist questions the presence of a holy king. Known as the Sword of Death, Garnicult is an unstoppable force feared by all. Time passes. As a girl tends the wounded warrior, Rananiel asks his friend, "Are you sure you want to retire?" The doctor urgently reveals the boy must retire, his body is consumed by demonic energy. He sits up after being healed, apologizing for his weakness and admitting he can't fight in this state. Congratulating his friend, he boasts that he survived wielding a demonic sword, something no one's ever done before. He pulls a letter of recommendation for the royal army's commander from his clothes. Stunned and sweating, the boy reads the letter, realizing it's a life-changing opportunity. He places a hand on his friend's shoulder, praising his performance and assuring him he'll do even better next time. The boy listens, then thanks him, expressing his eternal gratitude. He breaks down in tears, overwhelmed by memories and the realization that everything is about to change. Cold not to make his father cry, the boys break into a heated argument. Now, in the present, the two are. Speaking in code, he recalls his dream of becoming a teacher. Seeing the Ash Mage's new form, he stares in disbelief, admitting he never saw this coming. He finishes by admitting he never expected the girl to become a teaching assistant. He shifts back to their earlier conversation, revealing the small altar from Bozo. He reveals the demonic energy the boy sensed is coming from it. Holding up the item's remains, he reveals he found it in the underground sewers. He reveals the invader knows about the altar and says the similarities to past cases aren't even worth mentioning. He reveals the cursed ones were actually referring to the prophet. Chloe believed he'd erased every last hint of demonic energy. He praises the boy's sharp instincts for spotting the curse, and the boy teases, wondering if that strange remark counts as a compliment. He politely requests the altar from his friend, eager to begin his own investigation. The boy locks his gaze on her face. His intense stare unsettles her, prompting her to ask if there's something on her face. He quickly asks how her work's going, noting she looks more energetic than he expected. She grumbles that the job is a real pain, boring, and tedious. She complains that the Academy's old men constantly invade her room, hounding her with offers to join the Grey Tower and insisting on training her. Their relentless pursuit follows her through every corridor, bombarding her with propositions wherever she goes. Flashback to when the MC bristled at the Academy's old men, the boy notes. They've always been that way. He adds that the chaos quickly reached the black and white towers and beyond. At least at this school, she's found students who are dedicated and truly worth teaching. Beaming, the warrior praises his friend's journey, but she snaps, frustrated, insisting there's nothing joyful in her story. Rising to leave, he admits he's glad she found a place to call home. Turning to go, he admits he never expected those words from you. Hearing his friend was expelled from the hero team, he instantly feared for her health. She's left speechless, struggling for words as laughter fills the air. Cult refuses to accept expulsion and reveals what she did next. She responds, "I never thought I'd worry about the warrior, but I guess if you live long enough, anything's possible." She reveals, as his former mentor, she has one final lesson, then suddenly rests her hand on his chest. Blue magic surges as she unleashes her punishment spell, striking his chest and hurling him away with a forceful blow. She bursts into laughter after her revenge, then slyly advises him to work on his sneak attacks. Hurtling through the air, he crashes down before the bushes. She hasn't changed at all. Their conversation lasted deep into the night, long after darkness had settled over the school. As Lesty hurries down the corridors, he realizes he's already out past curfew. Suddenly, a voice behind her says, "It's been a while," making her jump. He leaves her speechless as a much older, brown-haired man suddenly approaches. He leans in, and the girl suddenly recognizes him. Elder Gil, Arcadia, a mighty nation from centuries past. In a single day, 4 individuals, led by the black dragon Belial, reduced this majestic country to ashes. The second culprit was Grados the Renegade. The third was Garnicult, the skull-faced sword of death the protagonist had battled before. Finally, the ancient Leash Skebel, a formidable skeleton, emerged. Yet, guided by the stars, the Chosen refused to surrender and raised a new city over the fallen kingdom. They rallied every hero, saintly sorcerer, alchemist, and mage they could find. The pages built their own towers to pursue their ambitions, and the king marked each one with a distinct color. The Black Tower, renowned for incarnation and enchantment magic, they wielded potent runes, while the White Tower mastered elemental forces, commanding fire, air, earth, and water. While most towers chase their own magical ambitions, the Grey Tower stands apart. Ignoring backgrounds, it exists solely to revive Arcadia's lost magic. Back in the present, the brown-haired man sneers at the girl's frail appearance. Stunned and silent, she apologizes as if she's the one at fault. The man shouts, demanding if she's forgotten she's the next Grey Tower Master, his frustration clear. Blushing and trembling, she clutches her books as he shouts, warning he won't repeat himself and demanding she stand tall and walk with pride. Trembling with fear, the girl sincerely apologizes for failing her master. Annoyed, he rubs his temple and snaps, "That's enough," but then, he finally reveals his true purpose, demanding the girl share everything she knows about Rania Ventre. Frozen in shock, the girl hesitantly reveals that Rania is Elder Rosal's adopted daughter and apprentice. She explains to her mentor that the girl is covering all the basics of mana. Impatient as ever, the man cuts her off and demands, "Is that really what you think I want to hear?" He pulls something from his clothes and mocks her, claiming he never expected anything from her. Yet, seeing her humiliated makes him worry about her future. He suddenly pulls a black object from his pocket, startling the girl. She asks about the Grey Tower, and the man confirms her suspicion. He says anyone smart knows how valuable his recommendation is. Time passes, and we're back at the cafe, where the protagonist rests. Students mingle and chat, while 2 discuss the upcoming exam, leaving one shocked to learn there's even a test. Annoyed, the protagonist sits in the corner, frustrated as the cafe grows increasingly crowded. Lost in thought over her friend's words, she drifts into reflection as students chatter in the background. Watching the waitress, she decides it's time to find a quieter spot. This place is just too loud. Suddenly, chaos erupts in the cafe as students rush out. The girl wonders why everyone is leaving so abruptly. Suddenly, something grabs the MC's attention, leaving her confused and irritated as she realizes she's now alone and wonders what's happening. Suddenly, someone appears at her table, insisting on a private conversation. The mage who spoke with Lesty earlier sits down and greets the protagonist with a warm welcome. Flashing a charming smile, he introduces himself, sparking a conversation. Irritated, she realizes his intentions and remarks that this was exactly what she'd been contemplating. Recognizing the elder's urgency to send Gillian, they dispatch the town's second most powerful mage. The man acknowledges her busy schedule and gets straight to the point. He pulls a black letter from his pocket, places it on the table, and announces he's here to deliver it. Clearly, it's something important. He leaves her stunned, insisting that, as a maid, she should grasp the true significance of the envelope on the table. Bewildered, the girl admits she doesn't know why she received the letter, but she's heard the Grey Tower's power is shared among 6 elders. Impressed by her wit, the man commends her for doing her homework, but scoffs, who even cares about the final balance? He presents it as a personal recommendation from himself, one of the 6 top elders. The clock ticks as the girl sits, lost in thought over the letter. Birdsong fills the air as the empty cafe sits in silence. While the girl scans the cafe thoughtfully, the man remarks that any mage would battle foes for this recommendation. The moment she accepts the letter, she becomes the true heir to the Grey Tower. The elder grows increasingly frustrated, noticing the girl ignores his words. She sips her coffee, ignoring everything, even the letter making it even angrier. Her blank face leaves the man guessing her every thought. Annoyed, he snaps that her indecision is wasting his time. She fixes the elder with a commanding gaze, assures him he knows what to do, and falls silent. She dumps her coffee onto the envelope, silently rejecting the offer and leaving the brown-haired man stunned. Coffee drenched the crucial letter of recommendation, and he snapped, "What do you think you're doing?" Utterly baffled. She bares her claws and rises in fury. She shouts at the protagonist, "Who do you think you are?" Then, with a mocking smile, she declares, "Here's the answer you wanted so badly," and releases the cup. A poetic shot of coffee cups atop the envelope reveals the elder's hidden malice. At last, she bursts into laughter, her smile revealing the answer. Irritated and on edge, the man's frustration is about to boil over. He gestures to the mess, pressing her again. Is that truly her final answer? With a mocking laugh, the girl taunts, "What if that really is my final answer?" Infuriating. He says he's heard of her talent, but didn't expect her disrespect, reminding her he served the Grey Tower longer than any elder, and now he'll show her what he can really do. Unleashing Monorealm, blue energy floods the cafe, just a hint of his true power, making the whole place quake and shatter. Power surges, rattling the chandeliers as runes glow from his hand. He fixes the girl with an authoritative gaze and demands her thoughts. He urges her to accept the letter, promising her one last chance. Grover grows more and more frustrated. She calls her rival stubborn, insisting she's already turned down the invitation. Without hesitation, she rises and strides toward the man, unfazed by the swirling magic. She snaps her fingers, unleashing a counterattack that collides head-on with the magic. The counter-magic instantly deactivates every rune in the room. She explains that the elder recruits followers to unfairly expand the Grey Tower's power and overshadow the rest. If that's what he wanted, he's succeeded. Then, she unleashes her own mana rail magic. Blue runes blaze to life around the girl, leaving her rival stunned at how effortlessly she mimics his spell. Then, with a mocking grin, she cuts him off to boast about herself. She claims her remarkable power makes her perfect for the role, so impressive that a Grey Tower elder refuses to let such talent slip away. Seeing her opponent on the ground, she asked if he was so blinded by authority that he could no longer see the truth. She mocks him, saying it's hardly admirable for someone his age. She strides off, her opponent defeated amid the wreckage of shattered glass and ruined cafe. Cut to the purple-haired girl intently studying in her room, insisting she must learn through her own experiences. Concerned for her lady, the little fairy urgently seeks her attention. She warns that if she keeps pushing herself like this, her body will break down. Gripping the girl's collar weakly, she urges her to rest and clear her mind. Driven by ambition, she pushes herself harder to reach her goals. The girl is so focused on her goal that liquid drips from her fingers, pooling across the pages she writes on. Intrusive thoughts swirl in her mind, voices praising her yet doubting her trustworthiness. Her negative energy is so intense, it nearly radiates, almost visible, almost palpable in the room. Energy engulfs the girl. Corruption creeps up her legs as time slips by. A new day dawns at Aplia Academy, where students crowd the newsboard, discovering the long-awaited exam announcement. Staring at the board crammed with runes and notices, a student questions if this is truly the exam they mentioned. As she nears the exam board, the protagonist declares she'll finally give her students a problem they can solve, while her disciples whisper curiously in the background. Clutching the announcement papers, she playfully mocks her friends in her mind. She spots the purple-haired girl struggling to move, looking pale and unsteady. She steps closer and asks, "Have you been feeling unwell?" She adds, "The girl looks terribly pale." From the purple-haired girl's perspective, intrusive thoughts swirl as she feels the weight of everyone's judgmental stares. Haunted by memories and intrusive thoughts, the girl squeezes her eyes shut, desperate to escape, but she can't. Shaken, she bolts as the protagonist calls after her. Suddenly, the warrior appears, startling the MC, who questions if this is the exam her friend mentioned. She spots the boy and mocks. "Finally decided to show up, huh? Took you long enough." She leans in, asking if he's uncovered any new secrets about the altar. She teases, questioning if a new look makes him confident, and he fires back with a laugh. The boy suddenly stops, his attention caught by something. He says the girl's last comment will speed things up. He has an idea. Sighing in frustration, he grumbles as he tries to organize the messy stack of papers. Clutching them tightly, he insists he did all he could to prepare, but something went wrong. He warns that the altar remains the biggest unresolved problem. Even if he purges the demonic energy and destroys the altar, a portal could still open. The worst part? No one can act until the gate opens, and the nightmare won't end until every demon falls. The boy abruptly changes the topic, noting that people always find reasons to complain around the MC. Irritated, the girl kicks the soldier and demands, "Are you blaming me?" Night finally descends on the academy. Adventurers roam the royal city of Shardalia. 2 adventurers stand out, clearly part of the hero's team. The 3 hidden figures are revealed as the team, and their leader demands, "Is all of this really connected to the altar?" A soldier quickly reports that a portal has opened in the capital. The boy presses on, asking if anyone has answered, but the soldier replies their team is the only one so far. He finally asked what he truly wanted to know, will the Ash Mage join? Strolling through the deserted capital, the warrior remarks the mage isn't here. Sword drawn, Kyle mutters, something's not right, surprising their teammate, who's left questioning what they really mean. Golden light swirls around the team leader as his hand hovers near his sword. The man raves that the stars grant him visions of the future. He says the stars are always connecting. He's led straight toward the protagonist, closing in like a hunter on his prey. In the principal's office, assistants whisper that the hero team was dismissed yesterday. When asked about the assistant teachers, one boy reveals they're strengthening the city's barrier. The principal insists everyone stay on task, and an assistant assures everything will be done by noon. Eager to help, the assistants ask if you need anything else. For now, signing the principal answers deck is the final task. The hounds insist the altar can't be stopped any other way. He says it's unbelievable that something like this was roaming the academy. If they can't prevent the altar from opening, they must do everything to limit the destruction. He turns to the assistants and reminds them this is their duty as instructors. As academy head, he must protect every student no matter the cost. Inside the classroom, students race to finish the exam, clearly unsettled by the tough questions. A tense student bursts out, "This test is impossible." Whispers spread, of course. It's always complicated when this teacher's in charge. The emo student asks his friend about the test, and his friend nervously sweats bullets. Both their pages are blank, they're completely lost. Staring at the strange test, one remarks, "I can't even tell black from white anymore." Something draws the northern warrior's gaze, commanding his full attention. He spots his purple-haired friend cackling the exam and asks if she nailed the question. He senses something off about her, but his friend urges him to stop staring. She's probably just tired. The White Tower disciple watches uneasily, sensing trouble as the girl walks away. Shaking off his worries, the assassin urges his friend to quit whining and finish the test. Annoyed, the boy snaps, insisting they shouldn't doubt his instincts. Purple energy spreads in the girl's wake, thick, unsettling, and clinging to the air around the other students. The girl stays laser-focused on her goals, ignoring the small fairy's desperate pleas. Night descends on the academy, thickening the tension. In the room, frustration grows as everyone laments the lack of progress. Exhausted, the man declares he's calling it a day. Another retorts, questioning why present this problem to students if even they can't solve it with guidance. Frustrated, the students abandon the impossibly hard exam and start to leave the room. Meanwhile, a frustrated librarian sorts books, muttering about the overwhelming workload. Something grabs his attention, and he turns to see what's going on. On the roof, the two friends are the source of all the noise the librarian heard. Frustrated, the girl laments that all her hard work on the exam was wasted. No one finished it. She keeps grumbling, insisting that making this test is tough because it demands grasping the rules. She grows weary of the subject, declaring it meaningless now. With a hint of sorrow, she says all they can do is wait for the altair to arrive. All they can do now is brace for the worst. The warrior grabs his friend's attention, ready to speak. She wonders what he means, and why it matters so much to him. At last, he reveals the school director summoned the hero team with laughter to aid the Magic Academy. She says she expected something more serious, and questions if he truly believes she'd be upset. Laughing, the boy admits he honestly expected her to be annoyed. She claims she can keep work and personal life apart, and that something so trivial wouldn't faze her. She adds that keeping the useless ones around is worth it. They can at least clean up the mess. Speechless, the warrior questions if the hero team is really being turned into the school's cleanup crew. Cracking her knuckles, the girl declares she now understands the medium better. Startled, the boy asks if she's finally traced the trail. She admits she has a slight hunch, nothing more, nothing certain. She warns that if overly provoked, it could become dangerous. One wrong move and they might destroy everything or even unleash new 4 holy kings. Trembling with fear, the boy anxiously asks if failure is truly this dangerous. The MC admits the altar's controller is far more gifted and powerful. As the pink-haired girl concentrates on her goal, stardust swirling around her. The MC remarks that the Grey Tower elders are too blind to recognize the girl's true worth. The scene shifts to a private room. Lusty enters, books in hand, as the mischievous boy points to the table. As she approaches, the little fairy is stunned by the letter's contents. Driven by curiosity, the girl snatches the envelope, questioning who could have left it behind. Inside the letter is the earlier exam, its runes leaving the girl bewildered. The moment she glances at the rooms, she instantly identifies the circuits. Stardust swirls as the circuit activates, unleashing a powerful defense and a swift counterattack. Amazed by the flawless paper circuit, she calls it the perfect rune, nothing wasted. She wonders aloud if she'll have to carry this with her everywhere. Beneath the table, negative energy stirs again with a faint sound. At last, the villain emerges. Purple eyes blazing with magic, radiating pure malice. The little fairy spots him instantly, trembling in fear. He seizes the fairy in his skeletal grip and lunges. Clutching the fairy, he returns her to her home, terrifying the purple-haired girl. Time passes. Harris of the Grey Tower is now trapped in webs, pale and frail. Drained of strength, the girl teeters on the edge of death, ready to depart this world. Restless thoughts keep her awake, doubting her choices and longing to escape. Then, memories flood in, her fairy's praise, friends laughing with wonder, and Elder gently resting his hand on her head, calling her clever. An elderly man approaches the girl, eagerly asking for the fairy's name. The little mage explains the book's called the Fox, Spirit of the Wind, but the elder, with deeper wisdom, says such a name would make her lonely. It's better to call her sister. Kneeling, the man asks Sylvie if she wants to learn magic and become his apprentice. He showers her with praise, calling her talented, delighting both the girl and her fairy. He takes her hand and declares she has the talent to lead a generation. Flooded with happy memories, the girl stays awake, shielded from the darkness. As they waited, the two realized the energy now surrounded the school. The boy grumbles that his friend's impatience stems from knowing the medium's identity, but still not having all the answers. The teacher fires back, calling her target too cowardly to even show himself. She reveals that becoming a medium let her sense all kinds of magic. Confused and lost in thought, he nods in agreement. He finally grasps the weight of her words, questioning their meaning. When asked when it happened, the girl replies it was right after she was left alone and witnessed the disaster herself. She reveals that he and Kyle's friendship was on the rocks. He talked about quitting hero work. It was heartbreaking to hear. Haunted by relentless voices, his sanity slipped further away. Soon after, the evil skeleton seized the hero in his claws. The monster's power erased the hero's memory, imprisoning him in a dream. Intrigued, the boy asks if his friends visited another world. She smirks. You could say that. You have to experience it yourself to truly understand. Skybolt can precisely locate the altar and transport the medium's mind to another world. Meanwhile, he takes control of the intermediary's body, unleashing a horde of demons at the blast site. By mastering the medium, he slips inside, yet his striking purple eyes remain unmistakable. Curious, the warrior asks what lies within the other world. But when his friend asks, the girl falls silent, haunted by memories of that world. Prompting him to guess, she drifts back to memories of a green field. The boy's long captivity was within a cherished childhood memory, running freely near his village. Imprisoned in a dream, he had everything he ever wanted. A perfect world, surrounded by his happy, smiling family. But she reveals that, though it was magical, his true witch could never exist within a dream. And so, the story ends. The boy grows even more curious. What wish could be impossible, even in a dream? She snaps back, demanding he lose that ugly expression. Stepping to the balcony's edge, she admits there are still a few wishes left to fulfill. His goal lies beyond memories. That's why he broke free. Maybe the purple-haired girl shares that same unreachable dream. Her intrusive thoughts surge back, relentlessly cursing and belittling her. Caught in the villain's trap, vengeful spirits swarm, hurling cruel insults at her. Tears streaming down her face, the girl trembles in fear and confusion. Furious, she screams, "I don't want to see this anymore," and rips through the webs around her. Enraged, she shouts to stop the tormenting memories as glass shatters around her. An elderly, bedridden man with a long beard speaks softly to Lesty. He admits he understands her fear. Clasping her hands, he admits that sometimes people must be selfish, but the price she paid to discover her talent was far too great for someone so young. But now, everything has changed, and she's now wiser and matured. In the forests surrounding the academy, something stirs, and inside, a series of loud crashes signal the portal has opened. At last, the long-awaited tremors begin. The portal has opened. Among the students, the boy wonders, if the medium is one of them, can they survive? Gloving up for battle, he declares his students will endure, no doubt. He adds that surviving 3 years in the Grey Tower proves her mind is unbreakable. Mages are naturally arrogant and unstable, so much so that even the elder said sorcerers never dwell on the past. Through heavy tears, the purple-haired girl struggles to break free from the curse and her prison, chanting the elder's words. She suddenly realizes Sylvie is gone and breaks down, crying out in grief. A portal bursts open behind the webs, and something starts to emerge. Bursting through the webs, the girl screams for her master, proving she's escaped the villain's grasp. Held in her friend's arms, hope flickers. Maybe she can finally break free from her intrusive thoughts. Suddenly, the skeleton emerges from the shadows. He fills the room with his presence, appears before the girl, mocks her insolence, and vows to send her to her rightful place. Annoyed, the skeleton strides toward the girl. Puzzled by how she escaped his dream, free from the villain's grip, the girl finally uncovers who's been cursing her all along. The ancient Lish warns that if she hadn't resisted, he would have granted her an easier path. But she'd never strike a deal with a villain like him, and her anger flares. Fists clenched, she steels herself for the battle, undeterred by the risk of defeat. She unleashes her summoning magic, conjuring a horde of lions and unicorns to turn the tide of battle. Despite the Elder's total control over all the magic here, Fueled by determination, the girl calls forth her servants with green magic. Unleashing her magic, she commands her summoned beasts to storm the skeleton head-on. She unleashes a wave of summons, but with one strike, the creature wipes them out, taunting her. Wasn't the dream enough? She's stunned by how effortlessly her enemy's white-haired daughter summons. He stretches out his massive claws, urging her to sleep until the world ends. Refusing to give up, she warns that if this continues, she'll lose consciousness again. She must find a way to stay awake and alive by invoking the perfect blue rune. But as she gazes on in shock, it's clear she didn't summon the runes. Her friend quickly realizes it's Professor Rania's defense circuit that's been triggered, and now vibrant stardust surges through the girl's body, empowering her in battle. Tears of joy streaming down her face, she touches the runes and declares her friend has been watching over everything. Furious, the enemy roars and hurls insults at the Ashma. Hida takes action, calling upon the stars to seal the curse. He extends his skeletal hand, seething with rage at this outside interference. The rune shields the girl from the Holy King's presence as a mysterious voice calls to her. This isn't outside interference, it's standard intervention. But then, the skeleton laughs, recognizing the Ashen One has returned. The enemy's presence deeply unsettles the purple-haired girl. Suddenly, eerie sounds echo as a black-streaked purple cloud spreads through the room. Annoyed, the villain lets out a scream so powerful it shatters the room's glass, desperate for the girl to leave him alone. The magical rune springs to life, unleashing its protective power. Just as she intended, the mark appears on her glove. Smiling, she gazes at it, confident her plan is unfolding perfectly. She removes her glove, revealing the rune on her hand, and urges her friend to pinpoint the source. The boy inhales deeply, instantly pinpointing the location. A lifetime of training ignites in the boy's eyes. He now knows exactly where the villain hides. Lightning crashes through the forest, its thunder echoing with a magical roar. With liquid dripping from his nose, the hunting dog warrior declares he's tracked the evil to its exact location. Lightning flashes over the forest as he asks his friend, "Do you see the signal?" Grateful, his friend praises him and asks for help to banish the tormenting demon. On the way, she suggests grabbing drinks and catching up once the job's done. Mangana stays locked on her mission to defeat the source of Yule energy, declaring that the frightened cat is just hiding. The villain's magic now surges so powerfully it lights up the entire forest, unleashing fierce purple tentacles. She casts a levitation spell, vowing not to let it escape again, and leaps from the balcony toward her target. Leaping between branches, the girl swiftly closes in, warning her target there's no point in hiding. A sly smile spreads across her face. She's finally ready to get her revenge. She unleashes her ultimate spell, Punish. At Ayah Academy, a magical nurse tends to an injured student as classmates watch from a distance. Terrified, the instructor stormed into the principal's office, shouting for his attention. Frightened, they warn him that Sheeple's barrier now covers the academy, but it's about to fail. Windows shatter under overwhelming magical pressure as lightning-like tentacles surge into the school, mercilessly attacking the students. Alarmed, the principal and his friends question how the barrier collapsed so quickly as the creature's influence sweeps across the region exactly as it intended, leaving the heroes powerless. The disciple of the Grey Tower strides through the forest. Exhausted and powerless, she realizes the barrier is shattered. She admits she doesn't know why, but she has to escape this place, cold sweat dripping down her skin. The MC trails behind, helping her as she fears that getting caught again means no escape. Collapsing into her friend's embrace, she questions whose arms truly surround her. She places her hand on the girl's head, casting a healing spell over her mind. She thanks her for a job well done, then unleashes her magic. The girl's magic unleashes a teleportation spell, whisking her to safety in an instant. The villain demands to know when his enemy will face him alone again. Magic crackles around her as the mage sneers, hurling insults. Annoyed, he repeats himself, magic flaring in his eyes, but the teacher remains unfazed, clearly used to such intimidation. Fuming, he snaps that she always sabotages his plans. If not for her, none of this would have happened. The Star Child was destined to become the saint of the altar that worships the shadows of the stars. If the battlefield barrier hadn't shattered, the royal capital would have never awakened and would have been claimed by the skeleton's grasp. He sneers, calling the protagonist a mere rebel who hasn't even seen a century. Fuming, he questions how he keeps shattering the holy barrier. Smirking, she taunts her enemy, calling out his unchanged inferiority complex and how annoying he still is. Brimming with confidence, she taunts her opponent, saying they should have tried harder and planned better. Demons surge from the open portal, ready to attack everyone in sight. As enemies appear, the school braces for battle. Selma realizes the summoning of lesser monsters has begun. The soldier urges the team's healer to safeguard the students in the infirmary. The archer shields the support warriors and battles the Black Death, while the leader takes on a separate mission. Sword in hand, he braces for a fierce battle. He charges at the demons, taking them down one by one with his sacred power. Sword flashing, the man blazes across the battlefield, effortlessly decimating his foes in seconds. He turns to his followers and orders them to move to the center of the altar to proceed with the plan. The fourth Holy King condemns the Grey Mage as repugnant. Haunted by the star shadow's curse that stole half her life, she wonders how she's still alive. Haunted by a single chilling thought, he trembles. There's only one reason she's still standing. Even under the skeleton god's curse, she stands resolute and, furious, he demands to know how she survived so long with that disease in her heart. It brings back the memory of someone whose skin dissolved, exposing everything beneath. A sudden noise in the forest stops them cold. She laughs boldly, unfazed by her opponent. She smiles, boldly refocusing everyone on the battle. She questions if this is all the villain's plan as magical runes ignite in her hands. She activates Axel, unleashing a surge of swift, powerful blue runes. The second is a surge of strength, transforming the protagonist into a powerhouse as radiant energy bursts from her, illuminating the battlefield with dazzling brilliance. She extends her hand and taunts the enemy, calling them Bonehead. Her magic erupts in brilliant blue flames, surging with power to face any foe. Casually, she reveals she's the one who created the now famous battle mages. She reveals the method was designed just to trap him. Soaring into the sky, the girl radiates magic, readying a powerful attack to confront the threat. She summons Kashgar's magic, her fists crackling with power as she closes in for a devastating strike. But Shiphul is no novice. He swiftly conjures his purple protection magic, shielding the impact point. The shield absorbs every blow of enemy magic, its power echoing across the battlefield. A masterstroke from the ancient Leash, one of the 4 holy kings, who relentlessly battles to topple a foe beyond human comprehension. To succeed, the MC shattered her own limits, shortening the summoning time and storing multiple magic circuits within her body, empowering her to charge and unleash them in an instant. She slams the barrier and urges them to strike first before they're trapped again. Her relentless strikes fracture the barrier. Determined to close in and overwhelm her foe, she clasps her hands, channeling every ounce of magic for a final devastating blow, fueled by the runes. The strike shatters the barrier, splintering it into fragments of magic. The boy shrugs. If he were a swordsman or ancient dragon, he wouldn't care. But he confesses he's already lost to another mage like her. She slams another crushing blow to the skeleton's skull, declaring, "Tricks like that don't work on a mage like me." Her enemy unleashes the Ash Impact spell. Meanwhile, with magical hands, his rival seizes the skeleton, triggering a massive explosion that sends debris, rocks, and ashes flying across the battlefield. Maddie steps onto the battered enemy, her gaze fixed on the trembling Lich. As fear flickers in his eyes, she coolly remarks on the device holding his neck together, ready to end the fight with a final, cutting conversation. She jokes that his neck brace looks like a life vest, then threatens to make a new one, yanking at the thing keeping him alive. A scream pierces the forest, rousing animals and sending crows into a frenzy of noise. The hero team's leader races ahead with the warriors, heading toward their destination. A soldier observes that Lord Rananiel's combat style marks the rise of battle mages who fight alongside warriors and lantern bearers on the front lines. He suggests that a new battle mage hero could take the Ash Mage's place. Kaio snaps back, "Knowing something doesn't mean you can use it in a fight. Plus, strength and magic aside, the human body has its limits." Naturally, the elitist remarks claimed he extinguished the light, transcend human limits and reach for the stars, a rare power granted to only a select few. You recall a memory. The protagonist sees himself running, burning mana with every step instead of starlight. We return to the battlefield where the divine scale reappears overhead. With her rival defeated, the MC declares victory and offers a deal. She unveils her scale and demands a trade, her own body as the price. Unsure about the deal, the girl breaks into a cold sweat. This decision is final. With its signature curiosity, the divine scale declares, "Pay the price before anything begins." She extends her hand and declares the rest of her mana as the price.